You are listening to the Hello Sport Podcast.
Punters and dribblers, welcome back to the Hello Sport Podcast, the home of unqualified opinion and unwavering bias. Yeah, I nailed that. Yeah, I did. Shocked you, didn't I? Shocked ya. It's a great privilege. And then I fuck it like that. It's a great privilege and honour to welcome a couple of absolute thoroughbreds to the podcast today. Tom's here as well. He's just not speaking at the moment, so don't mind him. Three of the greatest rugby union talents that we've ever produced, not just on the field, but off it, okay? Three great men, terrific men, stallions, if you will. The proud hosts of the Coco Show, that's Kickoffs and Kick-Ons. Drew Mitchell, Matt Giteau, Adam Ashley Cooper. They joined us today for one of my most favourite yarns. We just sat down and shot the shit, essentially. Talk rugby union, where it's at. A little bit of that Argentina game over the weekend, but we pretty much gloss over it for obvious reasons. We talked some yarns, some old stories, some old things the boys used to get up to, but most importantly, we have a good time. They also really enjoyed our rosé, Big Day Rosé, on sale soon. Just keep that at the back of your brains, okay? Back of the brains. This episode brought to you by Good Day. That's Australia's #1 multivitamin. Did I make that up? No, I didn't. Number one is not in sales, but in spirit, in essence, in all the right things for you. So bigwoodhealth.com.au, code dribblers, 20% off. Let's rip the fuck in, baby.
Thanks for coming on, fellas. How are we all doing? Well, we were saying before, we're usually a one-on-one interview podcast when we've got guests on, so there's no way we're going to be like, so how are you all been? Where are you up to in your post-career? Like, what's happening?
Just going to shoot the shit.
Yeah.
Just yarn.
Well, look, it's probably not the greatest week to record off the back of the results we had over the weekend, but
all the best.
Equally, I'm fucking nervous, boys.
We don't have to talk about the weekend, do we?
Wow.
Well, it's an elephant in the room, don't you reckon?
I reckon you probably do, Swoop, because you didn't do anything.
Because I watched it on my own time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's fair.
Oh,
the boys are having a bit of a blow-up because
he's a silky.
James Rochford, the professor, runs a pretty tight setup. You know, expects... Oh, sorry, he's in there. Yeah, there's another elephant. They wanted me to get up at 5 a.m. to watch the game live. You know?
Shouldn't you want to get up at 5 to watch
on a
Sunday?
On a Sunday. Yeah, isn't that sort of the point?
Yeah.
You know?
It's kind of the idea of when you're building a podcast.
You're building a rugby podcast.
To buy in.
Kickoffs, biggest rugby pod in the country.
All four got a point.
Also, son, you're top 5 all-time Wallabies, and you don't have the interest to get up and support our country.
Look, you know, when you're lacking a little sleep during the week, right? The working week, right?
Well, what happened Friday night?
Yeah. Where were you Friday night?
Had a couple of.
Yeah.
Priorities.
Yeah. Anyway.
So was that couple based? You had a couple on Friday and then say Sunday you need to get your rest in?
Yeah. Couple based.
Yeah. And so what time do you watch the replay? Because it does depend. You know, if you're watching it at 3 o'clock the next day, maybe...
Everyone's had their say as well at the end of the day. You got to be, we got to hear what you fucking think about that god-awful performance pretty close to
7:30.
Okay.
Turn it on.
That's not too
Watch it in my own time. The ability to pause, rewind, fast forward.
Fast forward probably.
What are you pausing?
You're not going to rewind the
rewinding?
bastard, are you?
I mean, the kids are up, right? We're cooking bloody pancakes.
You're the only one with kids.
Oh, I'm not saying that, mate.
No. I'm wondering.
I feel like we've come on here to hash out our issues.
this is good.
Listen, as I said before to Matthew, it's a healthy space, a safe space.
I feel that way, yeah.
And I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. So if you feel like you need to hash a couple of things out professionally between the three of you, because it sounds to me like two of you having some issues with an attitude.
Yeah,
an attitude problem.
Yeah, just a buy-in or a lack of.
Yeah,
or
like,
maybe,
are you committed or are you not?
Yeah, because from where I'm sitting, and you've argued that he should, because he's top 5 Wallaby all time, he should get up to support his nation. I'd argue that he's got the runs on the board, therefore he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, has he earned a sleep in?
No, sure. Like, yes, he has.
I'm merely musing. I'm playing both sides of the
throw
field.
it out there.
No, it's just more the language and the tone you used. I thought you're more on Swoop's side here.
Yeah,
But
no,
he has
Eddie,
earned the
I
right.
reckon you're on a run there.
Yeah, you know what? Swoop, you do whatever you want.
Well,
But then when the invoice comes in, shave a bit off.
Yeah.
Oh,
See, there you go.
happy to.
I reckon we got somewhere.
Yeah, there you go. Well, as long as we're all happy, and, you know.
So
we'll
he's shaving
feel
off a bit off the invoice.
Shave a bit off the
We're on a
invoice.
couch. We're just getting through issues. Like,
Well, we're
been
going
in
to
this
take a
situation
clip for that
before.
as well, though. That's we're going to need a fee for helping you get to that get that result.
We run pretty
we're an expensive.
pretty hefty,
What are we?
especially for couch time.
Yeah.
That's right.
What did you make of the game? We didn't watch it, as in like we didn't get up at 5 in the morning, but we.
I had my brother's
certainly-
wedding, so
I have children as well, and I fucking need to sleep in.
Thank you.
But like that was a pretty fucked game.
Yeah.
So 20 to 3.
Yeah.
67 to whatever it was, the end result. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think the way that it kind of capitulated in the second half was the most disappointing. I think, like, when you look at the Argentinian side, semi-finalists last year, the World Cup, they just beat New Zealand in New Zealand. Like, they're a good side.
Yeah.
So let's not sort of discount, their performance. But at the same time, like, the worrying thing for us is not the fact we got beaten. It's the fashion that we got beaten. You know, like, what was it, 50 points in the second half, 64-7 from the 30-minute mark or something. Like,
yeah.
That's probably the most alarming thing, because I think prior to that, I think we could probably all agree with Joe Schmidt, there's been small steps forward each week. Even if the losses against South Africa, there were some green shoots, but this was like a number of steps backwards.
yeah.
I think also the first 30 minutes we're up 20 to 3. So we're capable of playing good rugby.
Yeah.
So what was the change in the next 50 minutes? We spoke about it, like the good teams, you know, whether it's league, union, whatever, everyone, like a game of momentum. If things are going super well, anyone can play well when things are going well for you. All your moves and everything's just coming off. It's one of those days, well, those 30 minutes. But it's the good teams that when you're up against that momentum, you can stick together tight as a group and stop teams or
You limit the damage.
Well, you limit the damage, but you also got those senior players which at some point will step up and do something impactful to change momentum. It felt like when we lost momentum, especially in the second half, there wasn't really anyone that stood up and tried to make a big hit, like an Angus Bell the week before, you know, or Valentini, some great carries. Not that these guys were poor, but there just wasn't that core group, or, you know, just 3 or 4 leaders, just your experienced guys. Because if you're inexperienced, the people are just piling points on you, just going, shit, like, how do we stop this?
How experienced are our most experienced players? Like, I know there's Slippo's fucking experienced.
Yeah.
But in
Well,
terms
equal
of...
most experienced now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is he now equal most experienced?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I think there might have been a comment in the green room like, "Good to see the boys got up for Slipper in his momentous game, in his milestone game."
Yeah, fuck, that feels right, doesn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, an
Well-
absolute pounding for your fucking...
They might be saving it, though, because the next game he plays, which will be the All Blacks,
Record
they might
breaker.
really get up from there. We'll beat the All Blacks.
Yes.
100-0.
Yeah.
He's
100-0.
in the history of the game. Has he lived through the lowest
Years.
years
He's had
to
some...
be the most capped?
Well, he
Or
made a
has
World
he
Cup
had
final,
success
didn't
like
he?
early?
Yeah, he played
Yeah.
2015, yeah.
Okay, so there's some success.
There's some success there, for sure. But that milestone match was a tough one. But is he, like, in terms of the most experienced, you know, like, where you're saying we need to be able to lean on experience in those sorts of moments, like, where there's not a shitload of it at the moment? Or is that...
I mean, there's a number of players sort of probably around that 50 cap mark, or, you know, maybe 40 to 60 sort of caps. But but it's also like, it's just having the experience to be able to change in the moment, right? Like I said in our review, you weren't there, but no, because it was to reference Swoop, like when we were playing, and he'd be sort of like the leader of our defence. If you know, so like on the weekend, Argentina were playing this particular move every time, and the Wallabies were the defensive pattern they were using. They'll give him a soft edge, and they're making 30, 40 metres every time they're playing that move. And so, if we're getting the same picture from the opposition, you need someone like a leader in the defensive line to go, look, we're going to change things up. We're going to blitz. Change the picture that they're getting, right? Just change something up to make them react to something, because at the moment we're giving them the same picture, they're getting the same outcome, and once they make the 30, 40 metres down the right-hand edge or whatever it is, then our forward pack are retreating. We don't have a set defensive line for second phase, and then they just get on a roll. So it's kind of having that in-game experience to change and adapt to what's actually going on.
Do you think that would be, sorry to cut you off, do you think that would be the fact that there's players out there that recognise it, but no one feels like they have the authority to make a call?
I think it's the brass. I mean, a team will prepare a certain way during the week, trying to anticipate the pitches they'll see or the attack they'll receive. The defence they kind of need to systemize in order to prevent, them crossing the line. But I think if you've got guys in there that are just willing to put their hand up and say, this is not going to plan, or this is not what we prepared for, but we've still got the tools in our toolkit to be able to fire some shots. Just to provide those kind of feedback loops in the broken play to be able to go, this is where we should be going. This is how we can adapt. This is how we can kind of change on the run. Let's just fire this a shot.
Well, in league, obviously I watch the pod, and Nick Ennis talks about the spine and all that. I think our spine that you're talking about, I don't think we've got an experienced spine. So unfortunately, we've got to go through these lessons, potentially then when they do the review, you sit down with your game controllers and everything. You say, okay, look, this isn't going well here. Now, instead of a lot of our kicks, we were kicking in field, and off that broken field play, Argentina were cutting us up a little bit. So maybe we go back to, because our defensive line that's very good, maybe we go back to when we do kick, let's kick for touch. Just to change the game, slow it down. Maybe we get a line-out steal, and then we can attack, and you've changed momentum that way. I don't know, it just felt like when we lost momentum, we didn't do anything to get it back. Yeah. And as Drew said, it was probably the way they piled on 50 points in the second half, which was the most disappointing. Whether we were playing South Africa or whoever, as I said, Argentina are a good side. They're not number one in the world, but if the same score and the same result happened against South Africa, who are number one in the world, we'd still be asking these questions. So it's I don't know. It's a tough one, and you hate talking shit about a group that you care so much about and a team that you care so much about. But unfortunately, hopefully, this is going to be a really good lesson for us moving forward.
Well, look, we certainly don't want that to be the general tone of our catch-up today, is hanging shit on rugby and the Wallabies.
Let's get to Manly.
Specifically. Yeah. Well, no. Hold on a second.
We will get to Manly. We'll also get to the Raiders, my friend.
Yeah, we will.
Mate, we should have made it.
There's 8 or 9 rugby league teams on Mad Monday today, so there's probably going to be some breaking news by the end of this record.
We were musing about that on the podcast this morning. We were just sort of like ticking clock. How long until someone's eating their own shit or something?
What do you think's been the loosest Mad Monday story that's come out from a leaguey? Like over all the years, what's been the most outrageous?
It's funny because like there was a couple of years ago where it wasn't one particular story, but it was what we termed the greatest off season of all time, where it was like all the scandals were in that Goldilocks zone of like not too fucked, where we're sort of, we're in before the courts, but also like interesting enough where it's like someone's stuffed their penis in something.
Things that we'll talk about.
Yeah,
we'll have the ability to talk about. There's things that we just won't talk about because they're too edge. And there might have been one of those things
which was brushed over. All of it though, it was pretty good. But
the Goldilocks zone, the bread and butter for us is grown men, adults trying to shove their penises into schooner glasses.
Yeah, and it's caught by the Daily Telegraph, who are like climbing up trees, like how dare they do this? And you're like, well, fuck. I mean, you did have to scale a pretty sizable tree.
You're fine up there.
A fucking photo. You're upside down. But then there was one where like Nelson Asafa Solomona beat the fuck out of someone in Bali.
Remember that footage and he's just swinging those big arms?
But you were like, play on,
you.
because his mate tried to glass Tui Kamakamika. You're like, well, this is just good, honest street justice.
Offense.
Which is the dumbest thing you could possibly do.
Oh, yeah. Or then there was David Fafita, who did something similarly stupid in Bali, but then had like an El Chapo handshake moment with like the fucking people when he's getting let out of prison. Like, it's all good. Like, I won't fucking ever come back to this country. Like, just let me go, please.
Oh, there's an interesting story about you two in Bali, wasn't there?
No, I was going to say it. No. Yeah, no.
You were going to say what's that? What's that? Whatever.
Oh, yeah.
We're not going there, fellas.
You're not going to get there?
You perfected that handshake on the way out of...
you found your way into a Balinese.
It's more of a closed session, no camera type story.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Do you think...
when you're talking about, like there's some that you can tell and there's some that you can't. This is one of those ones that you can't.
That's fair. Do you think the Union boys are better at hiding? Well, I mean, listen, I can't
That's a great question because... And I'm going to state this. I'm not referring to the three gentlemen sitting opposite me, but we've had some run-ins with Union players in the past. Not run-ins, but like moments where we've caught up in a candid way.
Yes.
And some of the stories you go, well, if that's a league he did that, that'd be on the back page of the fucking Men's Women's Weekly.
It'd be in his Instagram stories.
I disagree.
He's close friends though, Tom. He's close friends.
I disagree. From outside of the fence, it looks like if someone from rugby did anything bad, they're pretty much done.
But you don't get
Australian
caught.
Rugby, you go overseas. In bit of Teflon around rugby as well. Nothing sticks. But as far as rugby league, if they fess up, look, I did the wrong thing. I'm sorry. I'm going to now just go have a good hard look at myself.
Yeah.
And then has a good game next week. All is forgiven.
Well, there is something to be said for just going and having a good hard look at yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't have to really do it. No, you're right. No, listen, I'm going to learn my lesson and just focus on my footy. Let my footy do the talking.
Yeah, that's a good one, isn't it?
Just let my footy do the talking.
Gotta be a
Everything else
better
will sort
person.
itself
Yeah.
out.
But much like they say of AFL that they've got a giant rug that they just sweep things under and no one notices, is there a rug man in the AAU
Yeah.
setup who's just got a big fucking
Broom and some
big
good contacts.
Yeah, and a beautiful rug.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Just dazzle with the rug. Don't look
Yeah,
under.
Persian,
rug.
Persian rug. To sweep the Persian rugs under.
You been under that rug, have you?
Yeah, it sounds.
No. I was about to, like, this is definitely your area. Sweet.
My area.
yeah, Swoop's our rug merchant.
No, we brought it up on the. We brought it up on a live show. Probably can't mention it here.
That's all right. Listen,
Yeah,
we can,
I've been under
we
the
can
rug.
cut anything
Yeah.
out.
I mean, I guess I got a little creative in an elevator in Hong Kong once with actually, I'm not too sure why, but anyway, I ended up engraving the gold-plated elevator doors with someone's initials.
Oh,
Well,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Well, it said MC,
yeah.
and we were racking our brain for so long, but I think he actually did AAC, but just didn't put the lines
Oh,
across.
Jesus.
Maybe the doors open before he could do the lines across.
So you tagged up, you graphed up a fucking.
Tagged up the old 24-carat gold-plated doors in Hong Kong.
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
proper.
cost me
proper
an absolute
gold.
fortune.
But Swoop also, like, they said, look, it's going to cost you, what was it? 20 grand, 15 grand or something.
50 grand.
50 grand, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he was like, look,
and that's where I drew the line.
and his dad works in sheet metal or something. He's like, look, I could buff this out for at least 5. Like,
Yeah,
It was more the way Swoop negotiated. Listen, my old man does sheet metal. I know that price is inflated.
yeah. You're taking the
Let's
piss.
get it down.
Oh, that's great.
And so did you end up
down?
getting?
Got it down to 12 grand.
You got a
Holy shit.
from 50.
But that was a match payment back
Did
in
they
those
fix
days.
them? Do you reckon, or they just go? You want
No, I had a pretty squeaky clean record prior to that, so it was
Well-
considered a first warning.
no, early days, he was front page of the paper. Was it Central Coast Mariners?
Oh, that's right.
They won the grand final and Swoops from the Sunny
No,
Coast.
it wasn't the final. It was the 5-4 thriller.
Whichever it
Sunny
was.
Coast Mariners
Oh, of
versus
course, the
Sydney FC
5-4
back
thriller.
But all
sitting in the marinade.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's thriller.
Mate, no one
and
knows
they
what
all
you're
they all
talking about.
stormed the field, and it was like on the front page of the paper. But there's Swoop in his Mariner shirt storming the field.
Big Mariners guy.
Yeah, mate. Sunny
What's the
Coast.
issue there?
No issue.
Well, I think it was pitch invading.
Yeah,
Look,
well,
it's just not a good look for the game, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not
I
a good
mean-
look for the game.
Were you the only one on the pitch? Or was it you and your hooligan mate?
me and the hooligans.
Yeah.
Sunny Coast hooligans.
Sunny Coast Hooligans.
It's the first one, the first one
Yeah.
over the fence.
Yeah.
I mean, being, I guess, front page of the Express Advocate with Pitch Invaders as the title, yeah, it didn't sit really well with the president of the Central Coast Marinator Club.
Oh, okay. Right.
Forwarded an
Marinator?
email. Yeah, that's what they call themselves, the Marinators.
Marinators.
Yeah,
Marinators.
which is a support group, right?
Okay.
Is that because
I was
they
never really
marinate
inducted.
people? Or?
Hey?
Well, yeah,
It's
it's-
weird, isn't it?
See where there's Mariners.
Anyway,
it's
no,
levels.
look,
They're into
Ray
meds.
McNichol, who was the Brumbies
yeah.
manager at the time, swept that one under the rug as well.
you
Yeah,
do
it
have a
didn't
Ray-
go anywhere.
How do you sweep the something on the
page.
back page of the fucking paper?
Lucky, the photo that was taken, which ended up on the back page, was I was actually behind the barricades or behind the fence
At that point.
At that time,
Nice.
timing.
Dude, you proved that I jumped the fence.
Exactly.
It's not really a.
Listen,
not-
as far
that's
as
not
that
up
wouldn't
there
make
with the
our
leagueies.
that wouldn't make our rugby league and off season
No.
rugby league off season scandals.
Yeah.
That's if you were nude, you're in. You're in.
Well, like you said, he wasn't quite over the fence that
Well,
point.
that's true. We couldn't tell.
We didn't see bottom half.
No. Yeah, right. So listen, I think that's fair to say there's a good sweep guy in rugby union.
I'm reading between the lines. Someone I like
Yeah.
to think I am.
Yeah.
Great swoop guy.
Yeah, there's not a sweep guy. Punters and dribblers, it is with great excitement and
Privilege?
Yeah, sure. Just to let you know, this is early doors letting you know, but there's a Hello Sport Grand Final lunch on, just to get everyone primed and ready on the big weekend. Now it's at Four Pines Truck Bar in Brookvale. So there's more information to come. It is a ticketed event that will include some good times, booze, food, and your good friends Tom and Eddie. We'll leave it at that for now. But just wanted to wet your whistle.
Yeah, it's about
wet your
wet
appetite.
whistles. It's getting wet-
because
it's getting whistles wet.
it's grand final day.
It's a public holiday the next day.
It's a long day, so you need to have something in place. You need to where you can fuel up
Yep.
and rip in
Yep.
in preparation for the biggest game of the year.
Correct.
And that's going to be your friends Tom and Eddie, 4 Pints, Truck Bar, Grand Final Day, the Sunday. We'll let you know more information as it comes to hand. But that's going to be from the lunch itself, approximately midday to 4.
So there's a carrot that we've just dropped and dangled. I didn't drop it. I dangled
You
it.
dangled it.
Because it's in the air.
No, it's there.
Just marinating that.
Shout out to 4 Pints. We love them. And geez, they got into their work at the footy yesterday.
Oh, that. Yeah. Well,
We don't talk about Raiders, mate.
Oh, Monaghan. Yeah.
I mentioned the bubbler.
Well, see, that's if we talk good rugby league scandals, though, like, I mean, I'd even put the peanut butter as like a bit fucking how you going.
Yeah.
In the how you going territory.
Yeah, that is
done it
how you
before?
go.
No, listen, I haven't. It's not to say that it didn't pique my interest when I saw it come across my desk.
Ooh, that's quite creative.
Was that
Innovator.
Kind of give us
was that for a giggle or was he caught buttered up?
No, dude, it looked like the family was there. He was laying on the floor of the kitchen.
But was that a private moment or?
I think so. I think it was a private moment with the boys. I don't think
Right,
it was a private,
no, that's what I mean.
No,
He
yeah.
wasn't snuck up on.
No, it wasn't like the wife and kids were out of the house and he added to himself. To my knowledge, I haven't looked into it.
You think back at the Julian O'Neill stories and.
Oh yeah, wait. Which one was what? Julian
Wasn't
was
that
he
like
pooing in something?
Pooing in a shoe or something?
Pooing in a shoe in the hallway. Yeah.
Double.
Well, then there was the Nate Miles one. He did a shit in the hallway and then hid in
Did
the
Freddie shit somewhere?
and then he hid in the stairwell all night. And then apparently,
Freddie was drunk in a hallway. Wrong person. Yeah. While he was the coach of a rugby league club. That's fucking chef's kiss, dude. You're a coach.
Do you think maybe when you get to a hotel and you're a little bit disoriented? I give him the benefit of the doubt.
No, so do
Most
I.
fellas.
No,
I've done
I
that a
get you
couple of
there
times.
because it's a bit like, wait a minute, which fucking floor am I on?
Yeah.
It's just more that like you're still fucked up.
Yeah.
That's all. And I mean, there's being disorientated and
What about
like
Gaz?
knocking on
Gaznia?
a door. Was
That's
that
gotta
Coach
be
Gaznia?
top,
That's
isn't
tough.
it?
Well, listen, he's lucky that there was just like there was no recording of the voicemail, wasn't it? Just that like it got leaked. And
well,
just
I
people
believe it
spoke
would just
about
go. I've never heard a recording.
No.
I'd pay for one.
Well,
I'd pay huge money.
Yeah.
It'd be in
Probably
the
not.
opener.
Probably can't repeat
exactly.
it here. We all know it.
No. We don't need to repeat it.
Yeah.
But that
But
was
I think the only reason Nate Miles got caught at the Terrigal Novotel, if memory serves, is because he was waiting in the stairwell all night because he got locked out of his room, and when a couple left their room, he tried to like go in there afterwards and got
As in, like, I'm about to shit my pants. Just let me into your room.
No. He's already shit, but he's been hiding out in the stairwell because he's got locked out of his room. He sees an opportunity to maybe take up a vacant room, but probably left his run.
Maybe he wanted to go in there to get on the phone and
just call for help.
Yeah, call reception.
Yeah. That's tough, dude. Like, I have sympathy for someone who's stuck in a stairwell.
Imagine a
after shitting
naked,
their pants.
drunk Nate Miles like running at you, like, "Can you let me use your room?" Like, no, mate.
And a smelly naked.
Oh, my God, dude. Yeah. Terrific. And then Todd Carney, piece de resistance, pissing in your own mouth. Like, again, something I've heard is not uncommon generally in society. Like, it was the first time I'd ever heard of it. Was it the first time you'd heard of the bubbler?
Yeah.
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 I don't
feel
know
like
if I'd ever witnessed it or heard it. I mean,
You've heard of the bird bath?
Yeah.
What's the
What's
bird
the bird
bath?
bath?
Oh, it's the teammate of ours. Can't reveal his name.
No, that's fine.
But he has a huge sack.
Oh.
And so,
Stretchable sack.
Yeah, really
Okay,
stretchable.
yeah.
So you get your rookies in. You don't force them, but they have the option at the end of the year, and you just stretch it out, fill it with a beer, and then you've got to have a sip out of the bird bath.
Out of the bird bath. And
Yeah.
this isn't like a historical tradition passed down through the ages. It's just one man, huge sack. I've got a talent. What do you want to do?
No,
Or is it biggest sack in the team?
Oh, it's definitely like one of the greatest sacks that I've seen. But I've got a feeling that we had a lot of leagueies in our team at the time.
It sounds like it.
and they brought it in.
Well, and also the
That
best
sounds
part
very
was
rugby league to me.
you'd have to pick the type of bird that they are flying in. Oh, it's definitely kookaburra. Yeah.
Oh, with noises,
Yeah, a bit of a
with
woodpecker.
noises.
Yeah. You just, what was I, sorry?
Bit of a woodpecker.
Yeah. Oh, woodpecker.
He just kept coming back.
Thirsty bird.
Yeah. Well, it just sounds like that's like a transfer of cultures if there's a rugby league guy in the room, right? Here's a bit of my culture.
Yeah.
Come and drink from my ball sack.
We weren't rookies at that time, so I was
No,
we didn't
you
partake.
didn't have to do it.
We've always mused, Tom and I, that it would be to the advantage of rugby union rather to take a little bit of that rugby league marketing nous. You know, like bad pay. What is the saying? Bad PR is good PR.
There's no bad PR? Is that the
Whatever
fucking-
it is.
Yeah, good Good.
There.
Yeah,
No
good-
such
good
thing as
bad
bad press.
There we go.
Was there ever anyone from the ARU came in and said, boys, like, we need a couple of big back page stories
We're
here?
gonna find you in the papers, but we won't
Can we
actually
take a
find
photo
you.
of this bird bath in action? Or?
No, it was quite the opposite, mate. There was a period of time where we used to get breathalyzer the next morning at recovery.
Oh, really?
Or on the way to
Really?
recovery, yeah, and we'd have to be 0. So legally I could drive to recovery at 0.05, but I'd have to be 0 at footy. Like, so then...
Which coaches run
Robbie
that?
Deans.
That was Robbie,
I was going to
yeah.
say the Dean's years.
Yeah, that was also... John Mitchell, he also brought in at the Force. I remember one time I was...
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did, because we're in Hamilton, and I went back to my room, and Scotty Stenneforth had locked me out, and I was well and truly over, and I ended up stealing the breathalyzer just to try and get myself back and buy myself some time, and then I ended up having to get Hayden to just say, Hayden was a S&C coach who was testing us at the time.
that
I
Hayden
said, mate, I
Masters?
need you to really look after me here. And then I blew the bag out, and then he just goes, yep, 0.
Oh,
Just
good.
moved
So
on,
you
really
can-
saved me, yeah.
Fuck,
Yeah.
every time.
And what would the punishment have been for that?
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know. I think because Hayden was this strength conditioner, like Drew was never going to get dropped.
Yeah.
So especially Super Rugby level, So you're just going
Yeah.
to be like, no, he was good. He's all good. But I do remember with Robbie Deans, we'd beat.
Italy.
No, we won in Hong Kong or Japan. We beat, who was it? We beat the All Blacks, but I don't know if it was Hong Kong or Japan. And
Is that James O'Connor kicking it after the fucking
Yeah,
bell?
that was Hong Kong, yeah.
So it was that one, and then we go back to the room. You can maybe have 1-2 beers because the next day we're travelling to Europe, but you've got to blow 0 when you get on the bus.
The day after a fucking brave win.
Exactly right. So
Do the big dogs, do you guys not roll in there and go, Robbie, for fuck's sake, cunt, what are we doing?
We're trying.
yeah, it was a pretty tough
all
battle.
it did was mean that we went out on Tuesday night.
Yeah, right. You find a
Because we
way.
had Wednesday off.
Life finds a way.
So
You're
it
gonna
actually
get
kind
fucked
of
up at some
it's
point.
to our
right?
detriment. We actually get on the piss closer to the game.
We also found a way to rig the system as well.
Okay.
Remember the time we had with the breathalyzer the next morning in terms of who was
selected.
who was selected or nominated to breathalyzer? There was 5 guys out of a touring party of say 30 odd.
Yeah, it's like a bingo thing.
We had
To
a
get
bingo thing, we had
breathalyzed.
kind of
Yeah,
like
so the
the
Almost
number
like
comes out for your
conscription.
tour
They call your
number.
birthday.
Yeah,
You're fucked.
Yeah.
kind of
That
Like
must
your
have
tour
been
number.
intense.
basically ping pongs in a bowl, little balls in a bowl,
Cool mints.
cool mints with your tour number.
Oh, my God.
So someone's writing your tour number on breath mints.
Yeah.
That's a kind of a job.
Anyway, it was just. I remember Matt Dunny used to run the draw. He used to go around and have conversations with blokes who didn't go out in the piss the night before, who didn't drink, like who were injured. So he pull out number 14. That probably was Drew who had a huge night, and he'd go 5.
Right.
And then the doctor would walk around the bus and
He'd eat it.
breathalyze the bloke.
Well, that's good. So there's ways to game the system.
Yeah,
at
yeah.
least.
There was also a deck of cards at one point with everyone's player profile photos on them. And one of the boys, Leslie Marfu, came back after a night out, and the manager left him in a team room. So he went through the deck and took his card out, put it in his wallet. So then he was like, I'm fine tomorrow.
Yeah, we're good to go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
What's your, like all three of you can answer, but like your favourite era you played in, or like your favourite coach, your favourite team that you guys got to, from a Wallaby context?
Gee, that's tough. Like from my point
Maybe
of
even one
view.
you think fondly on, like.
No, but I think even Eddie Jones from the early times for me was like, he was really hard on me, but I needed that. And then after that, from Eddie, we switched to John Connolly.
Were you 03 Eddie Jones era?
Yeah,
Fucking
yeah.
hell, dude. You've been around
And he's
for
still
it all.
playing.
Yeah.
And you still got down.
And I saw him with his shirt off just before.
Oh, don't worry, Eddie. I glanced at it, mate. The guy's still
Because
going.
I'd heard whispers when we were
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Perth as to the nick of the
No,
man.
no, the man's
Yeah.
still got it.
So when
we-
I saw him take it off, I made sure I had a little.
We also got our shirts off, fellas.
You know what? You've got a 6-pack still, but it's like not one. I'm like, I don't know exactly. I was like, it's still a 6. I'd kill for that, but I don't know exactly what
It's
I'm looking
hiding a
at.
bit,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
nice 6-pack.
Yeah.
But
Or
those
just,
early
like
days.
as far as, and then from Eddie, I then got John Connolly, who was really relaxed. Like he just leave you to do what you do. He'd often, when we're training, he used to employ really good coaches in their area. So a really good backs coach, good forwards coach, and he was a bit of an overseer.
Yep.
And he'd walk around training with the radio in and just play some bets. Yeah, I'll put 10 each way on Northam in the next, and just watching training, but he just had this relaxed vibe off the back of Eddie that was really good. I don't know, just every time that I moved along and went to different countries or experienced different things, I thought every coach I learn a lot from and got a lot of experience from.
Sorry, guys, not being rude.
No, Drew's got a couch.
I've got a furnace getting.
Drew's got a couch delivered.
I reckon it's hard when you're kind of talking about coaches. It's hard to nominate a certain coach who's your favourite because they all play a role in certain stages of your career. Like early on, they're I guess influential around growing your career and I guess making you accountable and showing you what a professional career looks like. Where I guess coaches later on, it's more about refining and how you can, I guess, start to lead a team.
Yeah.
I guess for me, it wasn't until I got to Japan and started collaborating with coaches from different countries.
So since you left Australia and went over to Japan.
I went to France and then came back to Japan. And then I got to work with Wayne Smith, who's considered the oracle of New Zealand rugby.
Yeah.
And Scott Hansen, who was the Crusaders coach, is now with Scotty Robinson at the All Blacks. And just kind of working with guys from a different program, a successful program, being the All Blacks. It was kind of really cool insight into how they run, I guess, their coaching techniques, the conversations they have.
Were there things that you really were impressed by, or just were like such out of the box ideas that you just never
A couple
considered?
of things. I think the two notable things for me were just how passionate they are. They live it. They talk. They think that Aussies love talking rugby code. We don't. We just talk code when we're working, which is that during training hours. They just talk code.
Definitely not on
a
a Sunday.
Eh?
We don't talk code on a Sunday.
Yeah, definitely not. And not on your own time anyway.
No, mate, it's your time.
Yeah, my time.
Get it?
And also, too, just the way they kind of approach a conversation with a player, too. Like, I think, reflecting back after kind of working with the Kiwi players and Kiwi coaches, is that everything was a question as opposed to a statement. I think with Aussies, when you're kind of providing a bit of honest feedback or having those one-on-one conversations with your teammates around performance, review, preview, whatever it is, it's almost like a statement, like, you need to work on this, or I think you could have been better here. Where Kiwi is a little bit like, okay, well, they're a little bit more strategic around how they frame it. That feedback. It's, hey, tell me, what could you have done a little bit better here if I show you some footage? Or how do you think you went in this certain area of the field? So it kind of makes you a little bit...
As opposed to being hypercritical necessarily, they're making you reflect on it yourself, come to the conclusion yourself.
And I guess if you kind of relate it to the Australian culture, right, it's ingrained for us to be super critical or that tall poppy, that kind of judgmental. But, yeah, I think they just kind of approach it a certain way, which kind of lands a lot easier or in more depth with a player, wanting to grow, wanting to develop.
Yeah, I think my before I let Drew have a crack, every coach I had, as I said, served its purpose. Even Robbie Deans, during that period when I got dropped, kicked out of the Wallabies, went overseas, it kind of humbled me a lot. And Sweet was talking about, as you grow in your career, your roles and responsibilities change. So at the start, you just do what you're told, follow the leaders, do what you want. You then start to build as the career goes. Your knowledge grows. Your stature in that Wallaby environment grows. And not from a playing point of view, but just a presence point of view. You've been around, you've seen things. You know what the standards are and what we stand for. When Robbie came, he changed everything and wanted all the young players, senior players, to be on the same keel, which is fine. But where you learn, it's even with kids, you know, as you touched on, you've got kids, your eldest will learn from your youngest, whether it's the right or the wrong thing to do. But that's just how things work. So that was probably the one coach I found really difficult to get along with.
Was that when your James O'Connors of the world were getting in trouble?
Yes.
You know what I mean? When
But
those
then
younger
even
guys were...
Rabs in that scenario, he would miss a meeting and it was fine.
That's what,
But then Lottie Keary missed a meeting and he got fined 20 grand or whatever it was. So it was like double standards, a little bit of that.
Fucking
No, but it's just at that time, it was
for a
just...
meeting, yeah.
It was different. Like,
And do you think that was potentially, and this isn't to shit on James, who's obviously had a great career himself, but there was a period of time where it was like Quaid, James, Kirtley were all sort of getting, you know, like they were out pissed or it was whatever. Do you think that was potentially a symptom of just, you know, maybe not holding younger guys more accountable, or like maybe when younger guys are coming in, you're a bit sort of scared of the older guys?
Well, I think it's also a reflection, right? Like, to quickly go forward to Czech was like, I'll treat you like men if you act like men. Yeah. Right? And the moment you start acting like kids, I'll treat you like kids. Whereas having curfews and having breathalyzers and all that type of thing is almost treating you like kids to begin with. So then we end up having more childish behaviour when we had more restrictions.
Yes.
But when we actually got the respect of the coach to go, look, guys, I'm going to trust you guys. And the moment you betray that trust, then I'll impose these things. But in almost like that endorsement of like, okay, you didn't go out of it. Well, definitely not as much. Like you didn't want to let him down. You didn't want to sort of. It's weird how our reaction to those types of restrictions was to break them. Right? Whereas when you don't have them, you actually stay within the lines. You know, it's sort of.
You feel like you're being a dick when you're given enough rope. You're like, okay, like And then when you're not, you're like, well, okay, now I need to find a way to sneak around here. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to not do it. I shit myself
just on the right,
this year. So
I mean, how?
I had a lot of coffee. I was fucking
Just a little.
So the good day.
You've always had bowel issues.
The good day supplement is it promotes like there's
healthy
magnesium in
stools.
it. Promotes healthy stools. Regular. But I'd roll in on a fucking one of those big Macca's long blacks, pump that, then come in and have a good day. And I just did a fart that I shouldn't have trusted. And it's on. It was the cameras were recording. We obviously removed it.
And he'd just done a piss, and he said, and he goes, "Whoops!"
And I just got up, and I'm going, "Oh no, I've shit."
That's the thing about trust, isn't it?
Yeah, don't trust anyone.
Happy to extend it until they fucking break it.
It was tough. It was tough. Thankfully, I had to change of clothes.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Well, listen, it
Nothing wrong
happens.
with that,
Dude.
mate.
Sometimes you shit yourself. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But listen,
Define shitting yourself though. Is it like
it was
shit or like?
Well, it was watery.
What about strong skitties?
No. Well, strong skitties is like, but you only get a skitty if you shit yourself or you scratch your asshole. That's the only way you can get a skitty.
Or you got the runs.
But that's right. But you got to poo yourself then. You know what I mean? Like something's got to come out. So if it's a strong,
As opposed to actively shitting yourself.
Well, I mean, listen, I sat here. I trusted the fart. I shit myself.
You know what I mean?
I know what I'm doing.
If you knew no one knew about it.
Camera's back on, by the way.
Yeah, that's fine. I want them on.
Yeah, good.
This is an important question.
Yep.
Could you, if you, like no one knew about it, no judgment, we're all mates here.
Yeah, all friends.
Could you sit here and shit yourself?
Yes.
No worries?
As in, for like, if you were
For a
like,
laugh.
dude, oh yeah, for a laugh. I mean,
No,
I'd immediately feel like a complete piece of shit, being like, yeah, this will be funny, and just,
I don't reckon that
and then having to
technique
like
works,
waddle
though.
out of here shamefully.
Oh, so you're saying you don't
If
think
you're
it's possible?
looking to shit, you've got to, I reckon you'd have to,
You reckon like the nerves would get the better of me?
yeah, well, I mean,
You know what?
prove me wrong.
I'd probably pull that like the hat over my eyes, so I didn't have to look at you all directly, and then I'd just get to work.
I mean, I've been there when my daughter's shooting herself, she'll eyeball
Well,
me and
they
push it out like that. I'm
you're
happy
like-
for you to do the same.
You're like, are you pooing? They're like, no, not. Okay, it
Well,
seems
your
like
face
you
has
might
gone
be.
purple.
Yeah, you've got
And
a
it looks
vein
like,
in
it
your
looks
neck.
like you're stretching somehow. That's what it looks like.
No, look, I reckon I could. I mean, I don't know. I'm not
That's
gonna. I'm
admirable.
not gonna
Are
put it
you
to.
saying that you need a little bit of space, or you just couldn't sit down?
Or is it more the stage fright?
no, stage fright, not an issue.
Oh, okay.
It's definitely the position.
Yeah, right. So saying that.
Well, are you arguing fabric onto fabric onto fabric there?
Well, I
assume
reckon
you've got
I'd have
unders
to.
on?
I reckon I'd have to get at least half an inch off the
Okay,
lounge.
now I understand where we're at.
Yeah, you know
I
what?
can respect that. Yeah, maybe I'd need to get like a little more.
Women
in a
will
prime
often
position.
say that they can't fart because of the G string.
What?
I've never heard that.
That's
You
a
know,
lie.
Well, that's a
I've heard
myth
that
because
a
my
number of
fucking
times. I've
my
heard that
missus, she let them
Okay.
go.
Oh, because it's too
With the
risky.
G-string? So
What's it going to do?
Oh.
Make a weirder sound? Like it's
Well,
going to
they
make
granny
like a
panties,
guitar
the
note?
girls ring.
just covers it. It doesn't make it possible.
I think.
I'm like, you can make it possible.
I've got a theory that IBS is almost 100% down to people not farting when they feel like it.
Oh.
I'm like, I don't have a sense of smell, right? I can't smell a goddamn thing. Don't know why. Yeah, can't smell a thing. So I'm like, my whole life has been liberal farts. I don't know what I'm doing, so I just let it go. But
So
then I worked
you
with
don't
it.
trust those around you.
Well, no, as I'm sure they smell, but I don't even.
You
give
know
a
what
fuck.
I mean? Like but you know they smell.
Yeah, but I don't.
So
but you don't know that I've done it.
It's a
If I
very
drop one-
loose excuse.
No, because if I drop
to
one
fart
here,
around people.
if I dropped one here,
That was so coming. I just flew back from Dubai, and when you get in the air, you get a bit of gas.
Altitude gas. Yeah.
No, but it doesn't smell as much up there. That's a.
Well, yeah, you reckon? I was there, and then I'm not sure.
Had to land the
I
plane.
may have farted, and then the waitress come past, and I was going. I pointed at old mate, this old prick next to me. Got away with it.
That's one of the
there you
biggest flying myths is the technology in the seat. They reckon that there's carbon or coals. Or
it
something
absorbs
like-
the fart.
It doesn't.
No, that's got to be bullshit, doesn't it?
Not when you
That
side
doesn't-
on, son.
That doesn't. Oh,
Well, you're fucking. You're
No.
you're
He's in
pumping them
business.
out.
No,
You're
it's
crop
online
dusting
that way. I'm watching. I
yeah.
download The Office.
Sorry, you're in firsties. laying down.
business,
Yeah.
but they didn't offer first.
Oh, that's
But
all right, mate. Listen, but
I
you're
didn't
able
pay.
to.
If I'm paying, we're at the back.
Oh, really? Bullshit.
Well, the kids are at the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I respect that, man.
Yeah, you're up the
You know
front,
what I mean? You're
farting
owning
up
yourself.
a storm. But don't you reckon if you hold like I worked with a female and I held in farts because I realised I was and it just was, and I was like, this is a nightmare.
You also live
I
with
was-
a female.
Yeah, it's true, but she accepts it. But I'd have to like run off to the bathroom just to fart. Don't you reckon if you just let it go, life's a lot easier?
Absolutely, like the early dates.
The early dates, yeah, you get in the car afterwards.
You just like letting go of something absolutely shocking.
Excuse me, I'm
they
just going outside for a cigarette. You don't even smoke.
Oh, fuck. Anyway, listen, let's return to highbrow
Yeah, what happened
podcasting
there?
show. I don't know. Listen, we
deviated quickly.
did.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's the second shitting conversation we've had this morning because we also had a very
Can I
in-depth
ask you
one.
boys a question?
Yes, you can.
It's not related to anything we're talking about.
All right.
It's good.
But we, all three of us really enjoy cartoons.
Yep.
Were you into cartoons when you were younger?
Fucking
Yes.
knows. Biker Mice from Mars.
Is
Street
there,
Sharks.
Is there like a character there that really used to turn you on?
Term it sexually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, my
I don't know.
problem-
When you're
obviously-
young, it's not
Well,
like super sexual.
Sailor,
but you
Sailor,
feel
Moon,
attracted.
Sailor Moon was attractive.
Oh, yeah.
Sailor Moon. I didn't mind
I
Marge.
dressed up as Sailor Moon.
Marge.
Gee.
Marge had a bit about it.
Was
I
it
remember
the
when I
hair?
was like 12, 13, like...
Marge?
No, because listen...
Didn't
'cause
the voice throw you off?
Yeah, the voice is fucking a punchy voice.
What's your...
Yeah, what are your
Yeah,
guys?
right.
Yeah.
What are your...
Mine was Pocahontas.
huge call. Yeah,
Yeah,
fuck
that's
yeah.
But that's an
a big
incredible call
Yeah.
as well. I completely agree with that. Jasmine. In
Jasmine,
Aladdin,
dude. Jasmine
really
from Aladdin.
attractive.
Yeah.
In fact, most of the Disney stars back then, really attractive women.
Swoop.
Princess out of Aladdin.
Yeah, Jasmine.
yeah.
Jazzy. And also, who was Joey Van Gogh?
Oh, Joe.
Oh no. So my one was so we throw up a couple of random questions just because, like, rugby, especially in Australia, is seen as the private school.
Yep.
Like the upper class. We've just got a different image, whereas rugby league's the game for the people. So we're trying to just show that we're normal people.
Yes.
We do normal things, and actually, I don't even know how I fucking got on.
Well,
Anyway,
You
we were
just
talking
asked
about-
a random question.
Yeah.
Yes. So for me,
you're asking about the Saffers? Did you say you're asking
Oh, yeah,
Van
Joe Van
Niekerk?
Niekerk.
talking about Joe Van Niekerk.
Yeah, so we had him as a guest. He was a former Springbok captain.
Yes, yeah.
He's a teammate of ours at Toulon, but we had him on just recently, and Gitz asked him the same question, and he came up with Lord Farquhar.
I don't think he understood the
He
question.
came up
though.
with Lord Farquhar.
Yeah, that was his. That was
Is that his? Is that
contribution.
his proclivity?
Yeah,
No,
listen,
I
it
mean,
might.
he's just had a little boy. He's just
Okay.
Yeah,
That
but
doesn't rule it out. Either.
Yeah, we
That's-
just don't know if he actually really understood the question.
right. Well, do you need to speak Afrikaans?
But he speaks English.
Yeah, yeah. We're just. I don't know. We're just kind of going to give him a bit of a leave.
Yeah,
pass
okay. Give me a. You say, like trying to change the perception of rugby in Australia, which I actually completely can understand. But also, I think
I like that you're trying to.
yeah, same.
Yeah,
but I
we're
think
trying
that's
to in
what
our
you're-
chinos and RM boots.
Well, I was going to say, listen, it's not
We've
all
come from work.
RMs
We've come
and
from
fucking
work, yeah.
chinos.
You've come from work.
yeah.
But it is something that felt like it was fucking rugby in Australia was dying out for. Was like, and on it, quite honestly, you three are the best. Not just to suck you off publicly, but I think you are the best. Like,
What about privately?
well,
Thus the considered use of public.
So it's a no.
It's what's great about the show is that it's not the way that rugby has just kind of always been.
Yeah.
And I guess it'd be cool to know how you guys got going, and you've all been friends for a long time.
Yeah.
I know, but like,
Yeah, I mean, we've been obviously good mates for a long time, played together for a long time, and I think like once you start to retire, we're trying to find ways to just like stay connected because we'd play and train and tour and that like so regularly. But I retired 7 years ago. Adam, I think, is 2 or 3 years ago, and Gitz is still yet to retire. But so we just sort of started looking at some little side projects that would keep us aligned. We started a wine company for a little while there.
Dave Krenish?
Backline Wines with Dave Krenish.
well,
yeah.
he's got our fucking big day.
Yeah, that's
rosé
right.
over
Yeah,
there.
yeah. So and then we did that for I don't know, probably a year or so, sort of through COVID. It was pretty tough
Well,
times
we
at
didn't
that point.
anticipate COVID.
Yeah, no, of course. But and
been
then
fucked
it
if
sort
you
of
did.
came up like a couple of different like approaches about a podcast, and from a number of different sort of existing ones, we partnered up with one, and I think going into it was like selfishly it was about having scheduled time with all the bosses signed off on it, like wives, partners, and actual bosses,
high level clearance
to catch up every Monday, have beers with your mates, and actually have it locked in your schedule. And just to kind of have a few beers, shoot the shit about something we love, and just have that sort of banter. And I think kind of going into it was almost like, okay, well, let's, like, you know, and with our great production team and guys that we've got involved, Prof and Ollie, Hugo and Tommy, all these guys, like, we wanted to make it kind of sound like, or make people who are listening or watching feel like they're just at the pub with us in that conversation. And, you know, we don't go too deep into analysis or in stats. Like, we don't have the rights to footage. So it's a bit of footy with a fair bit of banter, some stories, and, you know, get an interview with a guest that maybe brings a bit of a different light to what you would normally see them in a different interview.
For sure. Yeah, that's one of the things that I've enjoyed about it is, like, when you've got the guest on, it's not just fucking how you going at training. You know what I mean?
Like, if you get a player on, and I find if you get the current players on, they're very guarded. And I would have been the same way back then. How's the week been? Really good. You're looking forward to it? Yeah, mate, it's going to be a great challenge.
Yeah.
You know the answer that you're going to get.
It's fucking...
So I think for us, it was just trying to be relatable. Like I touched on before, like, rugby union seen as this private school, leather patches, all that type of stuff. You just drink your red wine. You know, you're not normal. I grew up in a rugby league family.
Yeah.
So my family's as loose as, you know. Like, no, it's the way it is.
Yeah.
So I think if we can just, and the beauty of what we do is, especially from Swoops end, there's no prep, but it's also... Well, I mean, you watch the games because we still love the sport, but then you just turn up and we just talk shit.
Yeah.
And these boys live 3 hours from me. I live in Canberra, but I would catch them once every 3 months. Whereas now I get to do it every week. Drink beers, talk about a sport that I love, and interview a couple of legends of the sport. So that's
it's been well received, because I think if you watch the game, particularly with the interviews and the media, that kind of engagement, you see a front.
Yes.
You know, this private school.
Mate, 100%.
Which we would do the exact same.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
But there's even a few leagues that give that same front as well. Like Cherry Evans, for example. Like,
there are players who give
he's
that
got a
same.
certain. He's
Darius
got a certain.
Boyd did it
demeanor.
one time.
He's
didn't
got.
he?
Well, that's what I mean, right? Cherry Evans has got polish. Like,
Yep.
he looks like a stand-up guy. But with rugby, you kind of know the man behind or in front of the lens or whatever it is, behind this front that doesn't translate to what you're seeing. And I think that's got a lot to do with, maybe it's the reputation of the game, or, you know, holding the values of the game, or it's just the fact that you don't want to fuck up. Because if you do, you're going to know about it. And that's probably what players fear the most. Like, a good example is everyone saw Sterling Mortlock as this Captain America.
Right. Never fucking would have imagined.
He's Paul Ciro, right? He's so serious and talking about strategy and tactics and mindset.
He's a freak.
And then we got him on the couch. And he's talking about
one of the
porn
fucking
master.
funniest interviews I've ever heard.
Because
So funny.
that was, for us, the biggest disconnect, is because you see him
We know him like
on a
that.
Channel 9 or a Fox Sports
Or
interview.
a corporate speaking.
But you're hanging with him every day. You're working with him
Yeah,
every day.
yeah.
And the guy's a fucking genuine weirdo.
But
Great weirdo.
But after the
In the
game,
best
no,
way.
the
True
best
that he
In the
got
best
the
way.
fucking train home after they lost 2003 World Cup final.
Oh, did he?
Things like that.
No.
Someone told me that they fucking he was on the train on the way
No,
home. I'm like, that
we
can't
were
be
staying
right.
at
But then you see that
the Crown
interview and you
Plaza.
go, he's every
We were
chance.
staying at the Crown Plaza. Coogee, Parramatta.
Oh, right.
Because it used to be out there. That was a,
So
that
that's
was a long
bullshit.
couple of days
But he
out
got
there.
the fucking train home.
Oh, no,
but
we'll
he
keep
was
it
back
alive.
at the pisser.
Yeah, we can.
But then we asked him afterwards. We said, Sterlo, you're great. I said, that's like, people want to see what you like. His reasoning was, I didn't want to give opposition ammo. So when I'm interviewed, I just like answer, bang, bang, bang.
It's
Which is
interesting.
sweet. So it's better if we don't ask any rugby questions. People want to know about rugby, but go to Fox Sports if you want to do that. For
Yeah.
us,
Well, don't
I
go to
want to
Fox
know which
Sports.
cartoon
Yeah, well.
character you want to fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's more what I'm interested in.
Yeah, that one was actually, that's like the perfect example of why your show's good, is because Sterling was just someone who was such a weapon. He was someone that was like a god in rugby growing up. And then
Especially
you
after
see,
that semi against you.
well, the intercept.
The
But
intercept.
then like you
All
see,
gloves.
Yeah,
all
the
gloves.
semi-
I got
gloves.
gloves almost exclusively because of him and
Yeah.
Dell.
Mate, glove sales. He would have been smart to get into the glove game
In the
himself
glove.
back there.
It
Sell
was
the-
a
sell
semi
the
that gave us a
Morlocks.
semi.
Just to pause on Sterling for a second, where'd the gloves go? You used to rock gloves.
I
What
did.
happened? Why are we no
Swoop,
more?
You've never worn a glove in your life, have you? We so
Not in Australia.
back. So when I came in, all the big dogs had them.
Yeah.
Wendell, like
Lath.
Sterling
Yeah,
did,
did Lottie wear
Lath,
yeah.
Sorry?
Lottie wear 'em?
I think
Yeah,
Lottie got
Lottie
into
did.
his
yeah,
glove.
Shark
his
might have
glove
worn
work.
as well, but they gave
Did
them
go
to us.
Sharpie wore 'em.
Like they were free, so I was like, "Oh, this is amazing! Free gloves." But then there was one time in Canberra where it was dewy, and I went to pass, and the ball slipped out of my hands. And I was like, "Wait a minute, I'm wearing the gloves. This shouldn't happen."
This shouldn't happen.
But then I quickly realised that what you do with a rugby ball, you use your fingertips. That's how you pass. The one part that didn't have glove or that grip
grip.
on it was your fingertips.
So that's it.
Well,
Was,
they're
as soon
redundant.
as it slipped out of my thing, I threw them away.
okay, right. And was that just like a slow? Everyone realised like a power balance bracelet. This thing is complete horseshit and does nothing.
Yeah, remember those when
No,
I was
did you
flicking
get-
the
did you
balls?
get sucked into
It was
that?
like, do you remember those
No,
with
I
the
didn't
power
do
balance?
that.
It was like twist around. Now put this on, and then you could just twist around like
Further.
10 times further.
What is it? What was that one?
There was these like rubber
Remember the boys
power
used to have
balance
like the little
bracelets.
bracelet? And I think Rabs and Quaid and that used to flick it before
Quaid
they,
would have had one.
before they
Oh, yeah.
kicked for goal. And
Energy.
I don't know what it was.
It was
but-
complete horseshit, but
Yeah,
it was
no, I
basically
did.
like something
Good
that,
marketing. They made a lot of money.
yeah, they did.
yeah.
I mean, let's try and
Mate,
think of another
The
one.
power of
for a week.
placebo.
Yeah.
If you believe something's going to work, especially if you're in a game and you're like, I'm going to flick this, and it gives you confidence, in my eyes, that works.
Good. Well, okay. Well, let's make another one then.
No,
Let's
no,
do
no.
something
no,
fucking-
but I never got into it. But yeah.
But yeah, Sterling was a great example of what's fantastic about your show, which is just like, you know, here is a non like old school fuddy duddy old generation version of rugby union where you're actually going, okay, I can see how much of everyone's a freak, everyone's
Yeah.
funny, everyone's got their own idiosyncrasies and the things that you really like about him as a person that you just don't fucking see in rugby really. But I think you three were very good at showing a real side of yourselves during your career, even if you maybe, and I'm speaking for you, but that's just from like an outsider's perspective. I always felt like you three were like funny guys. You know, I felt like I could sort of see.
Well,
it in
I
your
think
personality.
it's why you're still popular and why you had the ability and the profile to do the show, is because you did show more of yourself during your playing days.
Yeah, I think we just probably had an ability to know when to switch on and when to switch off, right? Like, and you know, because that was always that's probably where some people get the balance wrong and whatever. But like, you know, if it's time to be focused, we'd focus and we get the job done and whatever it was, you know, training or otherwise. But if I'm not there, then I'm fucking just gonna enjoy it. Like we're in a pretty lucky situation, you know, circumstance to be playing something we love, traveling the world with your best mates. Like, why would you not fucking enjoy that and show like who you are and
Absolutely.
all of that, right? Like I don't know, it's you know, and that comes with experience as well, like knowing when is the right time to switch on, switch
We
off.
were lucky though. It was before social
Yeah.
media when we first came in.
Yeah.
Like my fondest memories, I say it all the time. My most vivid memories are the times before social media came in.
Yeah.
Because you weren't looking to record something or people weren't taking photos. Like you were really present with the moment.
Yeah.
So I feel you feel a little bit for the people nowadays. I mean, I certainly for the Wallaby boys, their match payments. Thank you,
Does
Tommy.
anyone need a water?
No, I'm all good, thanks.
Their match payments
Maybe
are
later.
obviously dropped since we were there. That's one reason I feel sorry for them. The other one is they don't get to tour South Africa
Yep.
in Super Rugby. And the third one, the social media, like
Was that fun, was it?
which one?
South
Touring South Africa?
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah, just go on safaris and swim with the sharks, that kind
Oh,
of
so
stuff.
you just missed the line.
It's
Is
tough,
that-
mate.
You could get a bottle
It's
of
harder. It's harder to
grog for
walk that
$8.
tightrope today in terms of the balance, right? Because it's a fine line.
You right. What was that?
I'm not sure.
Dude,
It's a
that
fine
was, as a cough, like that was fucking
Yeah.
insane.
That was weird. I thought you were having a stroke.
line. Yeah, it could have been.
Well, listen, yeah, it was a tick
We've
or
we've got ambulance access here.
Yeah,
so
well, listen,
I'll leave
we'll
it with you
find
boys.
something.
But in terms of that, like, I think we got
Clip
it
that
right,
up.
and to actually have, and I'm not pissing in your pocket he gets, but he was one of the guys who was quite serious about his career, very serious actually, but would allocate certain times or certain windows throughout his, let's say, playing program or the season around. This is when I kind of need a little bit of a release. I think I'm going to go for it this weekend, or we've just had a good win. I'm actually just going to let my hair down here, or Mad Monday. One of the great performances on a Mad Monday.
I'm
I'll
not
come back to
surprised
that.
by that.
But also then, even though may have led the charge in terms of seeking balance, but then first thing you'd say in the morning was like, righto, we've got to pay our dues here. Went out, had a good time. First guy in the gym, sweating all out hard. And then for guys who aren't used to that type of backup or that kind of routine, it's like, fuck, okay, well, this is how it's done. Okay, so now I get it. which I don't know whether or not that kind of.
Do you think on that like it's too professional now, and that players are held to too high a standard where they can't, they don't get that sort of like that little release? I know I'm not a professional athlete.
Bullshit.
That may shock. That may shock some. But
Not with those cards. They're good cards.
Can I
Thanks,
comment
mate.
on that, Eddie? Can I comment on that?
Yes,
Because
please.
I think a good example is where Gitz and I went to LA. So I think we spent so long in a professional program where you're conditioned a certain way, you become robots, and in a way, it's just whether it's work or you try to do what you love doing, but it's so professional that there's so much fun that's taken away. You started playing the game because you fucking loved it, whether you're good at it or not doesn't matter, because you did it because you loved it. And I guess
You're not loving it if you're shit at it.
Well, yeah,
You're going to have to come in there.
yeah, right. I guess with our experience in LA, we went over there.
R.I.P.
and we just ran-
Giltinis.
Yeah, LA
mate,
Giltinis.
massive.
We
Shout out
built,
Adam Gilchrist.
we built and established a program that was just different. We tried different things. We ran a program a different way, and it was just really enjoyable to go back to why you started playing the game, which was club footy. Turning up on. I mean, we trained every day, but club football. I guess framework is Tuesday, Thursday nights training. You play on a weekend and you have beers with the opposition. It's exactly kind of how we, I guess, adopted this program off the back of that, and it was enjoyable because we went back to the roots of why you kind of played the game. So to answer
Do you
your
think there's more of a balance that can be struck between the professionalism and being able to enjoy yourself?
200%, and that's why obviously I love Swoop, respect Swoop, but this is ultimately why Drew was so valuable, is because when he came in, there was a blueprint that everyone would have. It's almost like you got to be serious game day. You've got to do this. This is how it is. And Drew that didn't suit Drew, and he quickly worked out the best way for him. And I'll let you speak on it. But you, the way you came in and you worked out that being like everyone else didn't really work for you, and then you carved yourself a great career by going against the grain, which takes a lot of courage,
Yeah, I mean, I think I was growing up as a left-footed fullback in Queensland and looked up to Chris Latham, who was left-footed fullback for Queensland. And then, fast forward 2 or 3 years, and I was alongside him on the wing playing for the Reds. And then so I just looked up to him so much, so I started to emulate his preparation. I just because I didn't know how to prepare for a professional game.
Yep.
The training's different, the approach, all that sort of stuff. You go to a hotel before, all this sort of thing. And so I started to emulate him and basically mirror him. And then I realised pretty quickly that we're two really different guys. And then the next roommate I had was Wendell Saylor, so I started doing what he did. And I'm on. Back in those days, you had to call from the landline in the hotel to your TAB account. Quote your number, put your bet on. And so we're like game day, putting bets on, getting
Unless
steak
you're
sandwich.
in Queensland, TAB was just under the hotel.
Yeah. But we put our bets on, get steak sandwich and chips instead of the pre-game meal, having cans of Coke, and I get to the game and I've done my ass. I'm like, my stomach's heavy as shit, and I go out. So then I was like, okay, I could take a little bit from each of them, but I basically then sort of started to realise how to prepare my way, and I also don't have the capacity to concentrate on the game for 4 hours out. Lock in and just be that silent, really locked in kind of guy. Like I need to, I'll sing along or I'll joke or I'll do whatever. But then you also got to then learn who in your team is like you, because you don't want to disrupt someone else's game, right? So then you kind of just got to be almost hyper aware of the surroundings and also what works for me and what doesn't. And I know I'm not the greatest trainer. I never loved training, but I did it because it got me the jersey that I wanted to represent. Yeah. Which is also why I'm struggling to find motivation to train nowadays. I'm not trying to get a jersey, but I know. I just think it's important to kind of bring light to a really serious situation, but at the same time, once you cross the line and the whistle goes, you fucking lock in.
Was it difficult to get coaches around your style? Were coaches a little bit more they have to, obviously you were good enough to be selected, so that bit's sort of covered off on, but or a good coach is aware that people are just different.
Well, the best coaches are.
Yeah.
It's hard to get a coach who understands different people, different behaviours, different attitudes, different preparations. You can't I guess, empathise or connect with 30 different blokes, because at the end of the day, you've got 30 guys who are trying to do the same thing, but they're all fucking so different. If you can get a guy who understands every 30, it's fucking pretty hard.
Who was best at that in your experience?
I just reckon the coaches, even nowadays, a lot of them are textbook coaches. And it's like not what you read is generally not what actually works.
Yes.
You know, like I think you've got to have that feel. You look at the best league coaches that have
Wayne
been
Bennett,
around
for
forever.
example.
We were talking about Wayne
And
today.
what do the players say? You know, he's just someone that I want to play for. He cares for my family.
But the fact that someone like him, it's interesting. Like the fact that someone like Wayne, like he's coached people from the 80s, and now he's coaching like your fucking.
I don't know how many generations. he's
millennial
coached.
or
It's a
Gen
lot.
Z.
But he seems to be able to get
Still
the
get
best out of all.
players
And
talking
he's
about
still
him in that light, like a father figure.
Yeah.
You know, like,
So it's the ability
and that's
of,
not
like,
really
understanding
coaching,
people.
Rugby league coaching, it's life coaching.
Yeah.
I'd still reckon there's a period there where you can't try and be a life coach too early. So I've had coaches there where before a test match, I would go up. We're about to play South Africa the next day. I don't talk about the coach because I got a lot of respect for him, but I just didn't like this moment. I went up. We're just about to play South Africa, and he said, "Listen, son, you know, I'm about to sign like a deal that was." Turns out Firepower, which was a false company, but
It would have been a big deal.
it looked on paper to be a good deal. And when I get, he said, "You know what? Rugby, like, money's not everything." I said, "Yeah, sweet. No, I get it. Money's not everything. It's about being a good person and being more than yourself, being more than just like representing the money and being a superstar." I said, "Yep, no, I get that. Have you got a game plan for me?" And then he was like, "Well, mate, I just thought we'd just have a little chat about." I said, "Look, I've got a dad. I love my old man. My old man I respect. He's my hero. He's my idol. That's the one I go to for advice. I'm here to see you about rugby.
Yes.
I want my 3 points that you want me to work on tomorrow for an important test match against South Africa." And it didn't really go down too well with him at the time. But
Yeah, you
like,
gotta speak the truth, yeah.
That's
well,
your.
I mean,
That's what you were looking for,
Yeah.
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think
So he should have maybe known to play you
differently.
differently.
Yeah.
But it was so early on, and he'd come off the back of being in Wales where he was great with players, and they really enjoyed that personal approach. But as Aussies, it takes time, I believe, like as an Aussie, it takes time for you, in my instance, for me to gain your trust and come into the inner circle and actually be someone that I'm happy to share information with. At that point, I wasn't ready for it. Like,
So,
just give me my
in that
game
moment,
plan.
it wasn't so much that you wouldn't want advice from someone that you like really sort of value. It was just that it was like, woo up, bro, a bit too soon.
Well, exactly. He may have some great things that I could have learned a lot from, but he came at me too early where I was just like, "No, please, I'll ring my old man if I need advice. Like right now, please just tell me about footy."
Yeah. Yep.
Like that's. I just want to know what you want me to know where I can play well, and also then play the next week. You know what I mean?
No, I do know what you mean. That's what I always found interesting with this bloke, particularly hearing the interactions Gitz had with his coaches. He was a bloke who was one of the best in the game, smartest in the game, but then going to coach going, "You tell me what to play, I'll play it." Where the coach is like, "Fuck, I've got to earn his respect here. You tell me what you think we should be playing." So there was this standoff.
But that's kind of interesting,
Is
right?
that
Like
right?
the coaches,
Yeah.
because obviously I've never even really considered that where a coach has to, like obviously the coach is there for their own technical nous and like what the fuck they want to do, but like coming into a team and you've got Matt Giteau
got
there and you're
Giteau.
like, oh, okay, I don't want this guy to think I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah, but he wants me from my
But he's
opinion.
like,
I may
yeah.
not have one.
But
you know?
also,
we had these pre-game reviews. So your game's on a Saturday,
Yeah,
and they're like, "You've got to book in to see the coach on a Friday." So I'd book in. This is my slot, and most of it was wasted talking about life. I'm going, well, I'm like, right now, I don't care about life.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
obviously, I'm not
pick
looking
your
to
moments.
kill myself. But, you know, like right now,
You're locked into the game.
Right now, I want to know how I can impact the team and help them from your point of view. Like for me, I've got my own way, which I thought I could add
Were you
value.
aware then you were putting pressure on coaches, that coaches felt pressure to maybe like impress you?
No, but
Did you ever think about that?
No, not at all. Like that wasn't. I went in with such an open mind, but it was like I wanted to know like the areas that you felt that I could add value. One thing I remember out of all my whole career, there was one bit of advice I got off Eddie Jones in 2004. We were sitting at the airport, Coffs Harbour. That's when we used to be based in Coffs Harbour, and he was reviewing training. So training was the one before. There was a time I caught the ball, and then there was a defender in front of me, so it was you, and then I did a step, moved you across. You started chasing me, and I dropped Sterling Mortlock under. I've attracted 2 players, and then he's gone under because back then New Zealand used to have a heavy drift defence, and the way to beat him was on an inside shoulder. I didn't even think twice about that play that I did, But he's called me. He's going, "Get, you see what you've done here, mate?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, what you've done, using your speed, mate, attracting players, dropping Sterling under. That's what's going to win us the game this week. I would have done 8 or 10 of them, maybe potentially in that game, because it was something that consciously I was thinking about because he gave me that advice.
Yep.
Yes.
Had he not reviewed training and told me that, I wouldn't have even thought about doing that.
Yeah.
And off the back of that, we won, not because of that play, but it was
but
just
added
those
to it,
those small details that I wouldn't normally have thought about.
You were just doing it naturally in the
when
training
you think about
session.
big picture,
Yeah.
get out of your 22, Gets, I want you to kick long. When we come to the left foot, you make sure you make your tackles. Like all that basic stuff, I knew I needed to know, but that small detail, I didn't.
Punters and Dribblers, we are brought to you by our good friends at Ned's. It is heating up on About Even. That's the number one betting show on planet Earth, and that's brought to you by Ned's. But it is getting hot and horny in there. Guru streaking away at this point. But listen, you can follow along on all of our bets that we have on the show via the Ned's profile tab, Edward.
Yes, you can, Tom. You can follow us along in earnest. Obviously, if you've been following me, you wouldn't be going that well.
Or me.
Or you. If
Or
you're following
Seb.
Roo, you're going well.
Well, you're actually not going well even if you follow Rue. You're just going better than us.
You're going better than us. Exactly right. Also worth reminding the punter and the dribbler that it's season coming up. That's a horse.
Sometimes I can't. Yeah. I could do it last week when I was being a dark horse. Is this what you wanted, Neds?
Pony season. Nothing's better than the spring. You could argue maybe autumn, but spring I think is better.
I think so too.
From
Because
a
it's
pony-
warming up,
from a
it's
pony
exciting,
perspective?
but it's also it's the vibe.
Yeah. You're like, okay, now I feel like taking my clothes off.
Yeah.
In a good way.
No, I want to get naked and jump on the back of a horse
Yeah, and whip it home.
and whip it home
to glory.
Yeah.
So keep a close eye on things over the spring, punters and dribblers. But also enjoy your finals football.
Enjoy your rugby league football.
Your rugby league football.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
When it came to 2015 World Cup run, we should have won. It's obviously a painful moment.
It's
for
a
the
painful
nation,
moment.
but it is what it is.
Shout out to Sam Carter, who didn't play, but he did come over.
Do you mean World Cup hero Sam
World
Carter?
Cup hero Sam Carter came over from like Perpignan or some shit just to help out.
Yeah.
A couple of forwards
Just
went
to
down.
train
He was
the
never
boys
getting
up.
on the
No,
field.
he wasn't, but he's a World
He's a
Cup
friend
hero.
of the show.
Yeah.
Was Michael Checker, did he have a unique ability to talk to individual men, or
Yeah.
did he get you to buy into like a bigger
I think
idea or
both.
picture?
I think both. I think he was one that that found a way to connect with each of the different players, and I think he was very good at identifying what each person brought to the group, not just necessarily as your talent on the field, but what you brought to the group off it, and then some of the great rev ups from Czech or sprays, or he's big on the hype videos and stuff going in, like, or theming stuff, and it was just I think a big part of that success that we had in 2015, albeit losing the final, was the run into the World Cup. And then once we got over there, we beat Fiji and then England, and we sort
Basically fucking 4 finals.
yeah. But then we had
into the
5 games.
quarterfinal.
Yeah, we had 5 games.
The defense against Wales, which is
Yeah,
just biblical.
but we had 5 games, like final, semi-final, quarter, and the last 2 pool games, all at Twickenham. And so when you do a toss for the change rooms, for example, and so we had for the first game we had the away change rooms, but then we just forfeit that right moving forward, and you just because we basically anticipated we'll be at Twickenham for the next 5 games. Let's make this feel like home. So rather than swapping,
Stick with
let's just like we'll just say, well, you take the good change room, the home one, and we'll maybe choose which way we run, or whatever it was, whatever the sort of the side hustle was. But so then every time we went in there, because you're going to different change rooms, but we've got familiarity in terms of where the physio is, where you get your tape, where you shower, where you cold like it just sort of it started to feel a little bit more familiar for us. So little things like that, like even like we train. We train in the captain's run with the fucking stadium speakers on the field blaring AC/DC or something, just because it's so fucking loud. So we'd have to really overemphasize our communication.
Yeah,
and whether not just with the verbal, it'd be like the hand gestures and that type of stuff. So we're getting prepared for the types of situations.
He was very clever at kind of driving engagement, and because rugby is it's routine, kind of turn up and to kind of get out of bed feeling like a fucking dog. Do the same thing every day to kind of get a result on the weekend. It becomes fucking very mundane and like just repetitive, right? And so he was very good at like what Drew said, creating theme, buying into something a little bit more important or in more depth to what you're kind of trying to achieve on that weekend, whether it's family. I remember there was a K2 theme one year with the Waratahs where we didn't go with Everest because K2 took most lives, things like that, climbing different steps.
Cool.
But then also changing a weekly thing every now and then, you didn't really know what, because you had the ability to come in and go, fuck you. You were shit on the weekend.
So that's the way he would engage with you.
So it was like when he walked in the room, you're like, okay, what are we getting here? Because he usually dressed like shit. So it was like, that was a bit of a laugh. But then also you didn't know.
Listen, you could put him in the best clothes in town. He's not going to look fantastic.
Then before you know, he could have.
Jeez, he's ugly, isn't he?
Like
never
you,
going to look like a catwalk guy.
Like you walked in with a bottle of tequila, and even though I gave you that little, what do you got there?
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of Czech, because every now and then he'd walk in with either a bottle of tequila or a bottle of champagne, where he's like handing out shots or
before the game.
Before training, or a day before a game, because it was someone was either welcoming their first child into or something.
Celebrate milestones.
So
I was giving you a check of all.
You guys, footy's important, but there are things that are more important than footy.
So would he be a bit like, he'd be fucking like, he could be ruthless, but then he's also like a bit of fun. He kept you on your toes.
Oh yeah.
But so what about that in terms of like when a coach is delivering feedback? Like there's some footage of Shane Flanagan and Ben Hunt in the rugby league.
Yeah, screaming at him.
A couple of weeks ago, where Shane Flanagan, like, he doesn't necessarily realise he's being filmed, although obviously he knows. But like, and he's just giving it to Ben Hunt after the Dragons. Fuck the Dragons, by the way. Fuck them. But he was giving Ben Hunt shit. And a lot of people got a lot of media buzz. Paul Gallen was like, mate, that is just so par for the course.
Yeah.
Is every coach like that in terms of delivering feedback, where they can absolutely rip you?
They've got it in them.
Yeah.
I think everyone's got it in them.
Just how they do it.
And how regularly they do it.
Yeah.
Some are a bit more than others.
I reckon the best coaches are the ones that do that.
Really?
Well, because you've got other times where there's a guy that's not picked that weekend, and a coach will say, mate, you're doing everything right. You're like, gee, you're training well. Unfortunately, I don't have a spot for you in the team. He's like, well, how do I get, if I'm doing everything right, how do I get a chance into that? Whereas the best coaches I've had have been, they're just like, well, you're not picked this week because you know what? Your defence was shit on the weekend. So you're like, okay, sweet. Well, at least it's something I can work on.
Yeah.
Whereas if they tell you you're not in the team this week, but you're doing everything well, what do you work on?
There's ones that also allow a foundation around how they will provide that feedback. Like Czech, for instance, you always say that it's professional, not personal, because we're here to be the best rugby players we can be. If you're being the best rugby player you can be, I can guarantee you'll be a better person. So, fuck, that's pretty cool. And so when he would lay on this kind of unpredictable feedback that's brutal and honest and loud, you'd be like, I kind of get it. We were, because he was about, with the Waratahs, I think they'd been, you talk about the Broncos being the most
underachieving side in Australian sport in the last 20 years.
Waratahs maybe had that.
Well, you did have that until
we won 2014. Yeah. So he knew that he was kind of signing on and trying to change this behaviour and this mindset, because he knew he had the talent. He had the ability to recruit more talent. You've got Israel Folau and a few others. That was the year you left for
I had 1 year with Czech.
Yeah,
did you not play the year they won it?
No, I just won the European and the French title.
Yeah, good. Thank fuck though, right?
Yeah.
Thank God.
Thank God you won something.
That would have stung.
Good things happen to good people.
Did you win Super Rugby with Reds?
No.
Anyway, so he's...
Sorry, that wasn't my intention.
There was a trial games, right? Trial games are all about just kind of playing your new games, new systems. Don't really worry about the next week. It's just go out there and just play. Don't kick, play. 2013... which Drew was involved with, was we don't kick the football. We're going to learn how to run the game. We're going to bring back the running game to the Waratahs rugby. We're going to represent our state. All these themes, all this buy-in about representing our state well. Our halfback, Nick Phipps, at the end of 2013.
Shout out, friend of the show.
Fanger, great man.
Kicked the ball 5 times in a season. Halfbacks kick
5 times.
As in box kicky,
halfbacks.
Mate, they box kick to death.
Sometimes box kicking annoys the fuck out of me.
He kicked 5 times in 2013, got absolutely fucking sprayed every time he did it. I told you we're not kicking.
Fair income.
So he developed this mindset. And 2014, there was a trial game. And trial games, again, like I said before, are just about coming out there, trialing new systems, new attack, plays, whatever. And also just new combinations. And we, on a Friday now, the normal routine in a game week is you kind of front load the week. Monday, Tuesday is your hardest week, and you start to taper off. Fridays are basically just a walk through your captain's run. He had us like, this was a 6K captain's run before one of these trials, and we're thinking like,
Remember he'd make us tackle, which was
and contact.
idiotic.
And he goes, "You guys aren't applying yourself," because there was a couple of.
You sounded like him then.
Running through our plays, he goes, "Boys, round the field," because we're training opposite Moore Park there, opposite SCG. So he goes round the AFL field. Off you go. So we're doing this. He goes, "You go not back there. You do it again. Not back in a certain time." So we're running around. He gets back here. And a couple of guys were lagging a little bit, particularly the bigger boys.
Well, it makes sense.
And he just starts spraying us. Like, you fucking blokes, I am your fucking boss for 90 minutes a fucking day. Give me that fucking respect. Tell you something to do it. I want you to fucking do it. Then he just changed his tune. Like, that was loud and aggressive. Everyone's like, this. Then you go, right, so kids, what do you reckon, mate, about tomorrow? What's that?
Yeah, the way he'd try and
like,
breathe out his nose,
what
which was busted.
that? He'd go from here to here. And so, but that's... I don't know if it was on purpose or it was just him.
Yeah.
He's also
I'd like to think it was on purpose because
he was
every time you
emotional.
spoke,
Yeah,
every
no,
time you
like-
spoke, you listen.
Well, he's Lebanese.
Yeah,
you know,
well,
so
we're huge in the Lebanese community.
No,
here.
no,
We've
no,
got a
I
Lebanese
love the
drum.
Lebanese
We've been
well.
Where's
welcomed
our
in.
Lebanese drum? No, it's all right. I get it.
No, but my son, his best mate, he's Lebanese, so I love him. But he, no, I want to throw that out there. Like,
let's
no, but it's
pro
in
Lebanese.
like-
Where are
it's
the
the
flags? Get the fucking Lebanese flag. We've got them. We've got a draw full of them.
But like when we're in France, it's the same. They're emotional. So like Czech was the same, and I can sometimes be emotional as well. It's very hard for me to hold my opinion in, especially around the pod and things happening on a Sunday. But
I
he-
should just play him the audio.
no.
You sprayed me on the group.
I didn't
Oh,
spray
you know I
didn't
love you,
spray
Swoop. You know, I just want these cunts to know I'm a hard guy. Blah, blah, blah. And, you know, it wouldn't be me for, wasn't portraying the image on
I let him know. I just said, look, son, what you're doing is great. If you don't want to be in, you don't want to be in. But you need to reduce your fee, son.
Yeah.
Is what I said.
I didn't know we were
he's
getting paid for the
emotional.
reviews anyway.
No, but he's emotional, and
Do you mind
I
if I
loved
just-
it because
Yeah, go, mate. Go.
you had someone that was so with Czech, he would.
Isn't this what you do on the pod where you fucking roast them while
Yeah.
they take a piss?
Tinkle talks.
Yeah, tinkle talks.
But we've kind of almost run.
No,
out
you've
of
already
things.
buried him. And yeah, sorry, carry on. We can
I
keep
think
it.
with Czech, like he would say exactly what's on his mind at that point. It's almost like, Gits, you're not training well enough. Like fucking, like, I want to see the intensity I saw yesterday, and automatically it would spark you up. I never took it personally. It was similar to me, like growing up, as I said, from a league family. My old man, he was emotional as well. Like as in like,
Forthright with his.
well, yeah, he's just like he was strong in his opinions, and you never took it personal. Like, well, if he said you played shit or whatever else, you're like, well, yeah, I kind of did. So you had to, I don't know. It's just for me, I don't like any ambiguity.
Yep.
I know that's a big word for leagueies.
No, it's
hopefully
it's
you
a
understand.
huge word, dude.
Yeah, I know.
We'll obviously pause the podcast and we'll get a dictionary definition to pop up here.
No, but I like to
And
know where I
ambiguity.
stand. Yeah, but you want to know where you stand. It's like anything here. Like even our first time we started doing podcasting, like we crave feedback from how we like. I left school. As soon as I left school, I'm straight into rugby. I'm told. So Monday, like first thing in the morning, you got weights, meeting, this, massage, that. Like it's very regimented, and your feedback is direct. Like that's just how we
Well,
operate.
I think I think it probably goes for like all types of athletes. You get your feedbacks from your coaches. It's from your peers. It's in front of your coaches and in front of your peers. So there's no hiding from it.
Yep.
If you're in a team meeting, they'll highlight something where you fucked up, and they'll rinse you, and then they'll put you on blast, and the spotlight comes on you, and you get all nervous, and they'll ask you what were you thinking here or whatever. But then there's also feedback from social media,
Yes.
from journalists, from commentary.
Fucking
Like,
dribblers. Is it
I'm
way
not
worse
sure
getting
that's-
feedback?
but
from
I'm
not sure that's the
cunts
best
that can't
feedback
even
that
play?
one, yeah.
But what I'm saying is I think we're conditioned to getting that straight, immediate, critical feedback. And then I guess part of my learning is to then go into this corporate world is that not everyone wants or receives feedback that same
That
way,
way,
right?
yes.
But
Yeah.
also, they're not also used to giving it that way. So I'm like, if I'm in other jobs or whatever and I'm sitting there going, guys, I need feedback. from the commentary stuff. I don't know if I'm good at it. They tell me why I've been shit.
Which you are.
No, you are. You're great.
Give me that feedback, because that's the only way I'm going to grow, right? Because that's how I've been conditioned as an athlete. Is you get better by getting the harsh feedback,
immediate feedback. It seems like athletes generally are actually better at receiving feedback.
But they've been conditioned that way, as Drew said, for fucking 20
Whip
years.
Me. Tell me I'm bad.
Whip me, please.
Yeah.
It's like with my wife. Like the dishes are there, and she's like, "Oh well, you didn't clean the dishes."
Fucking tell me I didn't do it.
Let me know. I need to clean the dishes.
I missed them. Sorry.
I want you to review my feedback. Let's watch dish tape.
That's the one thing I've struggled with transitioning.
Where could I have improved?
Out of the game. That's one thing I've struggled with transitioning out of the game. You're the same, Hadra, as like the amount of feedback you receive.
Not
in
enough.
rugby, you get it every day, daily, hourly, whether it's the GPS unit or it's the one-on-one review with the coach or the stats from the game. You're kind of just getting, or it's the article telling you how shit you were on the weekend.
Mate, like when you were in Bordeaux. So Swoop found out he wasn't getting a contract because he read that the owner said, we bought Adam Ashley Cooper, not Adam Cooper, or something. What was it? Yeah.
Oh, he left.
Well, he sat me in his office. He said, sorry, but we're not resigning you next year.
But didn't you read about it before that meeting?
Potentially, not too, well, I think maybe.
Gee,
I
you
think
tell a good yarn for me.
Well, I was just trying to help you out there. Well, I don't think that was the case.
Okay.
But he was just basically saying we could buy 3 players for your salary. I was like, that kind of
But
makes
how
sense.
good are they going to be, sir?
Yeah, they've got to be real good.
Excuse me, sir. How good are they going to be?
Because if you want AAC, you pay top dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you want MC,
Otherwise, you
I'll
just
get
get
you
the
a
AC.
hammer and just scribble
Yeah, if you want AC, then you're fucking. It's at least 33.333.
You
Repeater.
got, you got a 2-banger there you got to pay for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Love
Listen,
a two-banger.
Yeah.
You guys have been very generous with your time, and we don't want to hold you for too long. But there's a couple of things I want to get to before we.
You got a quiz for me?
Beep test.
Well, fuck no. Well, dude, yes. Yes,
we got to
I
get back
forgot.
to the beep
We
test.
gotta get-
We fucking dropped the ball,
We used
and
to
they're
start-
these are a beep
They're
test
a beep
people.
test people. These
Yeah.
guys, well, at least they were. They may have forgotten it.
Have you ever run a beep test?
Have you run a beep test?
There'll be a low
So we
range,
know
there'll
what
be a
we're
mid range, and there'll be a high range in beep test with the 3 of us.
Well, what's your best?
Okay,
What's your
can I
best all
guess? I
time?
can guess number 1 beep test, number 2, number 3. And that's with respect. I've got a lot of respect for you, but
Yeah,
I think
probably
There's
on the
no
money
way
there.
he's not number one.
there's no way.
Yeah.
I've seen him with his shirt off. And how old are you now, bro?
42 this month.
Get
Like
fucked.
that's fucking insane. Matt Giteau, just incredible Nick.
Tell me more. What were you saying?
Listen.
You're an incredible Nick.
Incredible
sir.
Nick. Lats,
Did you want to say
keep
something?
going.
abs,
Pecs.
fucking pecs. What are these
Good
ones?
set of nips on him
Triceps.
too. Great set of nips on
Yeah,
him.
they're nice
Oh, no,
little
they were
nips.
not too big. Like
Not too
you're
big,
to a
not too
Goldilocks
small.
zone, bruh. The
Yeah.
nips are perfect.
So
then.
you guys didn't watch the test, Argentina versus Australia.
Yeah.
There was a guy in the crowd, very start, while the anthem's going, and he's singing with his shirt off. He's got nipples like that. Like,
big old
my
dinner
God.
plates.
Yeah,
Oh,
big
they
coffee
are.
stains.
Dude,
Yeah.
they're tough.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's
as,
tough.
as particularly as a man to have nipples of that sort of size.
Yeah, good.
That sort of
well, what's a
surface
radius?
area.
Is it a
SA.
radius or is it a
That's,
circumference?
that's diameter.
Diameter.
You just go SA,
Not
surface
mass
area.
guys.
Just
Just,
do it,
from
surface
east to
area.
west.
Surface area.
It's a huge nipple.
That's OnlyFans.
But then, so that's areola though, and then you've got your actual nipple, which
Well, I think. Listen, I don't know if many people are discerning the difference.
no, there is a difference.
I know there is.
I'm standing
But if
here
I'm
telling you
eyeballing,
there's a
if I'm eyeballing a nipple on television, I'm including the areola.
Yeah, but if you see one that's like that, and it also has like a cabanossi fucking thing.
Well, you don't
poking-
want a long nipple.
No, you don't. Not on a man.
have you seen that?
Bruh.
It's really just the areola
Nah,
for me.
dude.
that
I
I
was at
think
the footy with a friend of mine whose name I will not mention, Will Hickey, and he has huge.
What's he
like,
got?
Huge,
Salami.
like, huge nipple.
Well, Tobler's got huge nipples as well.
That's true, actually.
How does he
Tobler
go
over
with
there.
a t-shirt?
Well, it's fucking looks like he can cut diamonds. It's fucking. It's
Wasn't
like,
your nickname the
Maltese.
Diamond Cutter? So it's a thing.
Hey, I wasn't sure he was listening. Good
So
to know.
beep test.
Yeah, beep
To
test.
nipples.
Yeah.
So what was your best?
We were in the sevens program. So back in the day, we can edit all this shit out, but back in the day, you used to be a pathway program. So you'd start and play sevens from academy.
Yep.
If you were good at sevens and could, produce some type of form internationally, Super Rugby would then sign you. You do well Super Rugby, you play for Test Rugby. So I got pulled out of academy, started training with the sevens, and it got to 14.1, I think. And then the trainer just said you can pull out.
So they actually were like, "Oi, the CD's about to burn out here."
No.
You can fuck
They
off.
just said, well, that's enough. Like I was kind of running by myself.
And
at that
probably
point.
looking great.
Well, no.
And they had posted me. You might need to do a piss. He's like, mate,
No, but I was a
this.
lot fitter back then.
Looking great, running great.
No.
Always
I mean,
fit? Always fit? Like, just you're a generally fit guy? I can see
well,
your calves. They haven't lost a step.
Have you?
Well, look at them,
Yeah, look at
dude.
'em.
They're fucking
No, but
fantastic.
I think I'm never going to be stronger than someone. Like, there's going to be people on the wing that are stronger and quicker and whatever for me. The way I thought is that in the 80th minute, I still want to be able to have the ability to move as quick as I can in the first minute. So fitness was only really my point of difference that I could add to the team.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well,
I was very good at having hamstring awareness when I had testing days.
Is that right?
You're the first person I ever heard talking about awareness in
Yeah.
hamstrings, and
Yeah.
I started using it all the
Hamstring
time.
awareness.
I think probably the first
Did you
time
get that off
came,
Drew?
Yeah.
first time you came on the podcast, I think, was one time where you were speaking about just awareness.
Yeah.
Like, that's a way to describe. Like, it's not fucked, but
Yeah.
you don't want to push me.
But you're aware of it.
Yeah.
And then that means also the S&C are aware of it, and they don't maybe make you do the last set or
Yeah.
the last two sets.
That's nice.
But I,
Talk about Hayden.
firstly, my beep test. I was my first year of sevens, Australian sevens. Obviously, it's a game based around fitness. I got 10-3.
10-3 is your best?
Well, no, it wasn't my best, but I mean, at sevens, I was 18 at the time.
Okay.
Much lighter frame.
Yeah.
I should have got a lot more.
10-3 is
dude.
not great.
No, it's not great at
12-5
all.
was my best,
Yeah.
and I am a
It
girthy bitch, dude.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit here and like, big
Suck
dog
yourself
yourself
off.
but I did get 11-1 in the wet.
Yeah,
There you
well,
go.
After a huge
You mean
night.
against me?
I mean,
against
When
the
I
wet.
got 6-5 after a...
There might have been an 11 there.
Yeah, well, there was also
The
a
beep test never
fucking
released.
huge night.
All I'm saying is he was playing sevens.
yeah.
And I was barefoot in the fucking mud in Barrel after a huge one. And there's footage of that.
Yeah, there
we
is footage
filmed.
of that. No,
and
that
it
is.
didn't upload
Yeah.
to Instagram, thank God, because
you're
we
talking
are
about dinner plates.
compromised.
Someone's eyes were dinner plates.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
Yeah,
so where are you at?
Yeah, mine wasn't great.
Mine was 13-1.
Okay, so we
I
got
never,
some
I never
athletes,
achieved the 13, so I went for it. And you know how they say you kind of finish a level and then you bow out on the next one, but you kind of rewarded that?
Yep.
Went out after 13.
So the one where you fucking sprint, you don't really
So I'll
make
take
it, but you
31.
go,
But you know
you're
what-
not even gonna turn.
you know
yeah.
what's interesting about beep test? George Smith, one of the great
I was
players
just
of all
about to talk
time.
about
Right?
him. Yeah.
Well, let's share it.
No,
Say
He
it-
would
say it at the same
never. He
time.
would never beep test over 9.
Really?
Couldn't.
Really?
2000,
Couldn't.
2003.
Couldn't.
George Smith.
George
the
Smith.
great George
Never
Smith.
beeped over 9.
Before the World Cup, he pulled out at 8. It's just something.
What?
Well,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
knew that he's tubby and he's going to do extras anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but he also it didn't excite him. But then we would play conditioning games, and this guy, who I consider, I think these boys probably would feel the same. I think he's the best player that I've ever played with,
Yeah, he was
except for
fucking
these
awesome.
two. These two, I love them.
Well, yeah.
But he.
So he's the third best.
Yeah, well, good maths, but I'll still keep him at number one.
Okay, fair, yeah.
He, it's just like the fitness side of things didn't really excite him, which is bad because nowadays he may get lost. He could be a guy that they set back to club rugby.
Yeah.
because
But
he's
he's
not
the
great with
greatest one,
the
yeah.
markers, but he's a freak.
It was
Mate.
just something it didn't interest him.
But he was
just
still
like-
fit.
Too much based these days around
He'd beat
numbers, right? Stats and numbers and all that. Like, your skin folds, your DEXA scans, your beep tests and all that. Like, all they rely too heavily on that stuff rather than actually having the eye to go, this guy's actually got
This
something.
guy's actually just a fucking animal.
That's a great point. So, yeah, today he wouldn't even get picked.
Yeah,
Potentially.
He was a footy
Potentially,
player.
yeah.
Not necessarily
an athlete.
an athlete, but
Yeah.
footy player.
He was the best.
Put him in the environment he goes.
Yeah. I loved George. He's one of my all-time favourites.
George.
Yeah.
George.
And he's from
Free.
that area, Manly.
Is he?
Well, he's Warringah boy, yeah.
Didn't he play junior league
Oh,
with
yeah.
Manly? Like, didn't he have something
Yeah,
there?
I think
I
he's
reckon he
cool.
had plenty.
Bro,
of
I
them
was
at
trying to
that
think the other day, Tana Umaga played for the Knights.
Yeah.
What? Stop it.
Dude,
He
can we
signed
just,
as like
didn't
an
know that.
18-year-old.
can
or
we
something.
fucking check that somewhere?
I did
Can you
not
check
know
if
that.
Tana Umaga fucking was signed.
Yeah,
for
he was
Newcastle
playing local
Knights?
local
Are you all
grade
right?
Jeez, I
New
wish
Zealand.
he
I saw an
signed there.
interview on it.
Yeah, I just saw a photo the other day. I was like, get fucked, it's
Yeah.
Tana. He was
He
again.
played for the Knights?
I don't know whether he made the
As in,
grade,
like,
but
as
yeah.
in, like,
What?
Did the
Left
Knights
up.
win
do
on
you
the
boys
weekend,
watch
by the
much
way?
rugby?
they did win. Do we
not
watch?
as much as I once did, no.
Mate, I used to watch
Is there a
fucking...
player though that potentially now you could see doing well?
Dude, how good Mark he go on the fucking
Yeah,
weekend?
yeah, but he's already gone. So
Okay,
now.
fair. Suoli.
Yeah. He's going the other way, yeah.
I don't honestly...
We were talking with World Cup hero Sam Carter when we were in Perth.
Yep.
And we were just having a couple of nightcaps.
With his wife.
We were.
No, well, we were at the footy with his wife, and then
Right.
she went home. Carter got the free pass, and he got to come out. And
Where did you boys go after that? I remember talking to you at the stadium.
A whiskey bar or a bourbon bar?
I don't know where we went. To be honest, I got fucking
Had a couple in
influenza.
the room. Anyway, he was saying that he was like, he thinks that the talent's there, they're just a bit green, and that they will blossom into great players.
Agreed.
Particularly under Schmidt, who he was like a big fan of.
Yeah.
Big fan. Do you hold the same sentiment? Do you think that these boys they're just a bit wet behind the ears?
Yeah, but I think that goes across rugby in Australia, right across the board. Like you look at Shute Shield at the moment, there's not many players above 25.
Yep.
Like there's been in the last decade or so, there's been a real big push, maybe because we haven't had the results, so we're like really like impatient just to get the next big thing in. But to their detriment, right? Like we get a young guy in, put him in too early, then they get spat out.
And they get damaged by the
and
results
they get damaged by it, right? Like
experience.
they don't end up fulfilling their potential because we try and wring it out of them too early. And then you look at the makeup of any of these squads now. There's probably like to our point earlier about experience. There's only a couple of guys with genuine experience, whereas the years where the Wallabies were more successful, there was only a couple of guys that were inexperienced.
Yes.
Right? But that's just the nature of the sport across the board, not just in professional environments, but everyone's just so green. Like everyone's so young.
Yeah.
Like, you need to have 100 games of Shute Shield generally before you then go into Super, but before you then go into Test. Like
in terms of the current Wallaby setup, and like I do know players, but it's gotten way more difficult, right? Again, partially because
There's less household names. There's less household names. It
but
just is.
I mean, is there anyone like Jorgensen seemed like a guy where I just saw him, maybe because he was linked with the Roosters and that's why he's in my head, but like I feel like one of his first touches, the first test he played, I was like, oh fuck, this kid seems like
He's got something.
He's got a bit about him.
He's definitely got something, but he also had a really tough game on the weekend.
On the weekend,
right?
yeah.
So are we then putting him in too early? Do we manage him better by maybe couple in, couple out? That's like we'll never know until we get the glory of hindsight. But
Till he ruined his career.
Yeah, I mean he's a guy with a huge ceiling, but we've got to make sure that they have the opportunity to hit that ceiling. Sometimes we try and get them to hit it too early, and then all of a sudden the ceiling comes down and
Fuck your good.
it's not the same.
What's your opinion, and where do you think the great pathway of Shute Shield's at? Like, obviously, we had the great final between.
Well,
reckon-
I
mate,
wanted to listen. Just firstly,
it's
apologies,
alive.
Easties, Beasties, Mongrel Dogs. Obviously, we fucked you
Yeah,
up in
go
the
the
final,
East.
dude.
Love
Fucked
that.
you up in the final.
So Tom, just for context,
sorry.
Tom was Colts club captain for 2 games before he shattered his knee.
I broke my kneecap and then I had to
You
retire.
can edit this out, but you're a real cunt.
I
Tom.
do. Sorry,
That hurt.
Well, that's on the public
my arm
record.
was
That's
actually
all
starting
right.
to cramp, then trying to flex.
But what
do you
about
think it's
Lindsay
in a good
Stevens? Did you
space?
play with Lindsay Stevens?
Didn't play with Lindsay. Listen, I was seconds Colts.
You
so-
can't miss
Yeah,
him.
no,
He's
Seconds Colts 2 games.
Yeah, so Lindsay must have been.
I think he was playing fourths or thirds because he couldn't make 2s or 1s.
Yeah.
He's a real battler.
Yeah.
His
Yeah,
old man's
right.
even worse.
Okay.
Look, we'll send you a photo. You'll know what we mean as soon as you have a look at him. But,
Okay, right, yeah. But that game, that game generally, that was a fucking cracker.
Mate, 36-35. Like,
And they're not necessarily all like that, but the Shute Shield is a fucking.
It does seem to spin
It
out
seems to
some
spit out some
rippers.
good games generally.
Yeah.
You saw the vibe, even up in Queensland
Mate, up
when
the
Brothers
hill,
won back to
right?
back. Like, there's still, as much as we shit on rugby sometimes here at Hello Sports Studios, there's still a vibe. There's still energy
bit of a
for it.
vibe. How about your vibe trying to fight a couple of young Norlies
No.
supporters?
Fuck yeah, Drew.
So I was
Did you? You tried to bash him?
Fuck those bastards.
So
You
this,
bashing
this
them?
is what was going on, right? So I was standing
Sweeping
on the
under the
hill
rug.
amongst all the North supporters.
Against with 3 generations of triple ACs.
Yeah, like
Big
we'd go
time
with little
Swoop,
Aces boy, Swoop, and Swoop's old man. And at this particular time, I was holding Ace, which is Adam's son, and a friend of mine next to me lit up a cigarette. And all these 18-year-old Norse boys obviously had a few under their belt, just started going, oh, put your fucking cigarette out, like, and started having a go at my mate.
Changed?
Yeah, having a go at my mate about
Fucking
setting a
weirdo.
good example in front of the kid. And he kept kind of going at it, right? These guys behind us kept going. I just turned around and said, mate, shut your fucking mouth and just don't concern yourself with something that's not your business. He goes, mate, I'm just looking out for the kid. And I said, well, if you did, then you wouldn't be swearing the last 20 minutes. So just fuck up.
Yeah.
And then just turn around, right? Like, it was just him. And I said, all you're trying to do is just big note in front of your mates. Like, fuck off. And turned around. My mate kept sucking his ciggy, and then eventually I gave Swoop his kid back just in case I had to throw down. But I mean, but it's one of those things, like in that group mentality, like they're going to chip me about
Of
something.
course,
Like,
dude. They're
fuck
just
off, mate.
talking shit.
Yeah.
You should have. You know what you should have done? You should have taken the dart and just gone and just blew it in AC Boy's face. You're,
But shoot,
What
shoot
now,
footy,
brother?
park footy, it's alive.
Yeah,
it is
great.
alive.
Yeah.
Just
It's
how do
vibrant.
we get that to?
But also,
super
like,
level?
how do you get that? Again, listen, not to bring up Rugby World Cup hero Sam Carter, but he is my direct fucking.
Link.
Well, I just like to ask him questions all the times, and he gets a little frustrated at me because I'm like, "Well, why is this game so?"
Is he a
good?
doctor? What's he doing?
No, he's playing for
still
the Force.
playing.
No, I know that, but he's doing something outside.
Well, no, I think he's doing like agricultural real estate.
Oh, so he knows.
Yeah. But I'm just trying to work out, like, when you see the Shute Shield that's so good, obviously there is a professionalism difference. But one of the things that I do find that I found frustrating about rugby from when I was maybe in high school, that I fucking, the TARs, everything Super Rugby's pumping, is just like the quality of it. It just doesn't
From an
se-
entertainment
From
perspective.
an entertainment perspective, but like it just doesn't seem like they spit out fucking really entertaining games. Again, I don't watch it as much, so I could be like,
I
there's a part
actually
of it where I'm
think it's probably
disconnected.
because it's at a different level. Like at Shute Shield level, you're having players make more mistakes. They're not getting as much access to training in terms of the
Defense isn't as good.
Defense isn't as good,
Train
right?
twice a week.
Yeah, there's less opportunities the higher the game goes up.
Yes.
So then, when
But
you're
is there a
playing-
way to so in the NRL, they would reduce the interchanges to increase fatigue, to make people make mistakes, to make the game a little bit more open and for some shit to happen. Is there anything like that, or is that is that a false
I think,
equivalence?
but aren't the laws of the game dictated by the governing body as opposed to
which is World
domestic
Rugby.
markets?
where you can't just make
So
a
World
change.
Rugby, it's thriving in UK and Ireland and countries that don't have an audience that look at rugby union through a rugby league lens.
Yeah.
That's why we're at disadvantage here, because most of the sporting public here in Australia are looking at rugby union through a league lens, right? So if there's a high shot and you get a red card in union, it's a highlight reel shot in league.
Yes.
So then it's either game soft, or all this we're kind of, whereas you look at the French and England to a degree, because Super League's not as strong as the NRL is here. Wales, Ireland, South Africa, all the countries where it's doing so well, they're not looking at it through a different lens. They're just looking at it because it's rugby. Right?
the one fucking the rugby lens.
I, to your point around fatigue, I think we should increase the interchange to 10 players, but like soccer, you can only use 4 or you can only use 5.
Ooh.
So you've got all the positions covered, so you don't go uncontested or
I like that.
but you can only use 4 or 5. So there actually is more fatigue players out there,
and there's still
then
tactical
opens
decisions
up
around it, and like one team can use them differently.
What about,
I like
what about a
that.
power play where the power play, you nominate 10 minutes of the game where someone has to remove a player from the opposition? Where it's
You get into big bash
Well, I
territory
reckon
there
that
where
tequila's
you're gonna have
going straight to
zinger
your head,
battles
son.
and fucking
No, I
then it
think it's a
becomes
good
a
idea.
ball's
but it
gonna
won't
line
work.
up.
Yeah,
Won't work. Why?
I just think
Well,
it becomes
Well,
a
they
bit
think
gimmicky.
about chance.
You got to
But that's what I'm
fucking.
saying. You get equal rights.
So as your power play comes, go for a yellow card. Like,
Who goes for a yellow card?
you know what I mean? Like
No, I don't know
if
what you mean.
get
That's
bent.
what I'm asking.
Well, there's
Okay,
enough
so
yellow
say I
cards.
hit
There
too
is
high.
14 on 11.
Well, that's-
14
yeah,
on
yeah.
15 most of the time.
People will outsmart that. There's people smarter than you. Believe it or not.
I know that.
That will work out a
Which is
way.
most of
On this
everyone.
Definitely not on this couch. So. But the,
You,
will work
you're
out a
going
way,
back in
you
your
know.
old ways here, kids. You're getting a little
shit,
negative.
dude, we're
No,
back
We
to
don't want
therapy.
Frankie giving you a call again.
Well, it's been a nice circle.
Well, this is, we're back to therapy
I
session here.
disagree with him. I said, no
Just let
one's
us go.
smarter than
Yeah.
you on this couch.
Oh,
You're not the
right.
smartest bloke in the world.
I didn't listen. I know that. Sorry.
No, I love you.
No. So what about if we have if you hit the post, you get like 7 points for a penalty instead of 3.
Oh, jeez.
You know, if you light it
What
up.
about this? What about this? Last try wins.
Last try wins. This is another one of my
Last try
bugbears.
wins.
Is 3 points just fucking
that's
way too
Mario
much for a
Kart.
penalty? Can we fuck
Everyone's
3
got a
points
chance.
off?
Yeah, that may
Designed
make
to-
a big
Designed to
difference.
win.
Because it's one of those ones where it shouldn't be your first choice. In NRL, again, not to suck rugby league, but it's just like you go for a penalty in rugby league if it's very early in the game, you get down there and someone fucks it. Yeah, all right, we'll take 2. But there's often a chance where you might be like fucking 2 points behind and you don't take a penalty. You go, we're going to go for it.
Is that Northern Hemisphere mud-based rugby union where it's
could
like we've just
they
been
do-
grinding up the field
they
all
applaud it.
fucking day.
They
We
applaud
need
it.
some
They
points.
celebrate
They love mud rugby,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, I mean, like when we went over to Toulon and Johnny Wilkinson was our captain, it would frustrate the shit out of me at times when he'd just sit back in the pocket and hit a field goal or we'd go for a penalty all the time. But then then I sort of started to understand the impact it was having on our team, but also the opposition's mindset and how they would then change up their style of play to combat us just building a score. And so then all of a sudden I'm like, you get exposed to other ideologies around the game. You're like, well, actually, it fucking makes sense, right? Like, because that's what the framework of the game, and 3 points, like it makes sense to build scoreboard pressure, and you can all of a sudden you can appreciate why they appreciate it so much in the North.
He had such an impact on the game, Johnny Wilkinson. Like the 5 years after he won the World Cup, everyone was drop goaling. Everyone was field goaling.
And everyone was
sort of gone out of the game
this,
a bit.
dude.
Yeah.
I was doing this on the fucking football.
Everyone was
on the
doing it.
workbench too.
I was doing well on the workbench. I still do that now. That's more my plank though.
Where is yeah?
Gloves on as
I know
well.
what
But it's similar to what you're saying. Like over in France, they don't have rugby league to compare to, so they just enjoy the sport for what it is.
Yep.
And the sport is build pressure. And I feel like certainly in Europe, the game is more conditioned to Test rugby. The way they play the game is very similar to Test rugby.
Yeah.
Build points, build pressure.
Attrition.
War of attrition.
Yeah, exactly right.
Whereas here we try to entertain because we're in a
Come and
really
live.
competitive
We have
sporting
to.
market, right?
Yeah, we have to.
Isn't
get
that
it.
interesting?
Yeah.
But then you could argue that on the international scene, that style, which is like geared around entertainment, actually is
Doesn't
more
win.
effective.
Yeah.
'Cause it wins our fucking wins WCs.
Yeah.
Well, if you're a New Zealander or a South African, but then like it doesn't always, does it? Wouldn't the attritional type?
Well, I mean,
Usually
But like England, so the North has won one World Cup.
gotcha.
Yeah. That's my point.
Yeah. Fair.
Most semi-finals of World Cups are South generally.
Before we let you go quickly, who do you hate losing to most? Like Kiwis, is it we kind of respect them? Is it South Africa? I personally hate South Africa just as a rugby league opposition. England, because they're fucking English. No disrespect.
Probably potentially the Poms because they're great losers. You know, they're quite graceful in defeat. But
Well, they have a national history of being losers, though, as well, generally, right? Like, they're
You said
losers.
that.
Yeah.
But winners, they're just there's an ego, like there's an arrogance about the win. But I'd say for me, Kiwis.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fair.
I mean, I played them, I don't know, 18 times or something, won twice or 3 times out of that 18. Like,
Yeah, right.
It did look
tough.
pure though, that World Cup pool game against England where we knocked them out.
Oh yeah.
You diving onto your sternum that was like broken or something.
Did you bet yourself?
No. So the one before I got my sternum cracked by Owen Farrell. He actually didn't even get sent off. It was Sam Burgess got sent off. Who was inside
The rugby union great.
Yeah. He exactly one of the great rugby union players. He put a high shot on hoops. But then I just got lost in the moment. And it was also they'd lost the week before, so we knew that if we beat them, they're out of the tournament. Hosting the tournament, beating England,
So pure.
Huge,
like,
dude.
There's nothing.
You got to
better.
feel for Sammy Burgess there. They hung up their whole World Cup campaign on him.
Yeah,
I
and
think-
then put him
that
in the
was an-
centre.
On a
You
leg,
know what
he
it's like
played
trying to
centre.
defend and play.
No,
there. You
mate,
got a ball
it's
play. It's a totally different thing.
Insane.
So they hung him out to dry. but
And he's
yeah.
also an all-time great in rugby league. Like, he is actually a fucking...
No,
he is
genuine.
a...
He's genuine beast.
Yeah.
Like,
Clive Churchill
they
medalist.
could have played him so much better. When you're watching the footage and you prepare for the game, I was looking at him like trying to study big time because I'm obviously a tiny fella, so I need to take any luck out of the game. So I'd watch how different things that he'd do, and they just didn't use him well enough.
When are you going to retire? Are we done? What's going on here? You're fucking 400.
Yeah, no, look, the
Are you going back to LA?
No, I'm not going back to LA.
Not publicly yet.
No, not
Notice he
publicly.
said LA there, not America.
Yeah, right.
No. I mean, I've touched on this. So my last season, I got the opportunity to go back, which was really cool. Tested myself. I was actually a bit fearful of going back, but just more of like an idiot of yourself, you know? Like you've played for so long at a somewhat standard, and then if you go back and you're not up to that standard, potentially that's how you're remembered. So I remember talking to Drew about it before I was going, and a little chat with Swoop as well. But Drew was the one. Drew's very good with quotes, and it was something like, if it's fear that you're running away, run towards it. And I went towards it, and I enjoyed the experience. My kids came over, my mum and dad came over because during COVID they couldn't get to LA when we won. So my parents were there for my last game. Second last game, I got the opportunity to run onto the field with my kids. So it was a real sense of closure for me.
I think the main question is, have you done enough? Because I know you're someone that will never feel like they've done enough.
Well,
Is it your terms that you've closed out on, or
it is because I've got the opportunity to go back if I wanted to.
there you go?
Which is flattering in some regards, but it's also, I mean, I would have loved to have won. It's things being that we didn't win the comp, but we didn't even make it into the final anyway. But it's just like, I don't know whether that's ego or the competitiveness of me. But yeah, no, definitely I think I'm done. I'm really enjoying doing what we do here, spending time with the kids. My oldest boy goes into high school next year, so it'd be too selfish a decision for me to go back. So I'm done.
Bit of Tom Brady about you if you pushed it one more year.
There's nothing Tom Brady about me. He's one of the greats.
And before we wrap up here, how do we get the couch in? Is the couch fucking in the house?
Yeah, the couch is in the house.
Okay, thank
couch
Christ.
Is in the house.
Go in.
It's in?
Yeah, I've got a
MCM?
Yeah, MCM. There.
Oh, nice.
Well
Okay,
done, mate.
Not
Congratulations.
an ad, but shout out to MCM.
It's at least there now. I don't know if it'll still be there when I get back.
when you get in.
Chug up? Chug?
No.
Oh, right.
All right, beautiful. Boys, thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks,
It's
boys.
been-
Thanks
It's
for
honestly, we
Hey,
love
boys,
it.
thanks for having us.
Yeah,
It's
anytime.
been fucking fun. I enjoyed the shit out of that.
Yeah, no,
that
that's
was great.
good
Yeah.
fun. Come down and watch us at East, your club. East,
Yeah, fuck yeah.
20th of,
When are you doing
20th
that?
of September, the night before the All Blacks Bledisloe.
20th September?
Yeah,
Eddie,
just
I
doing
see
a
what
live show,
really
cameras
like.
away, phones away.
Oh,
Yeah,
love that.
phones
Yeah,
away.
fuck
that we
yeah.
like to go to, the Lee's Fortune Accord.
Yes.
Yeah.
North Board lunch.
Fuck yeah.
I'd like to invite you.
I
to
would
that.
love
Well, you just inviting him.
I
Yeah,
would
mate.
Why the
fucking
fuck
love
don't
that.
I get
North
him?
Sea, yeah.
Well, Norsing, you're a beastie's mongrel dog with me. You're
I
Randwick.
No, not.
I sponsored. I
fucking
say
sponsoring
I
Randwick.
sponsored Randwick
You weren't Norse,
because we
cunt.
wanted access to some of their building contacts.
Randwick became red and black, and then
Listen, I'm going to find out the date and get.
I've just been invited to Lee's Fortuna
Yeah.
Court with Swoop,
Yeah.
so I'll be going.
Okay, well, I'm going
Stanley
to.
don't mind.
Stanley,
I'm going
he's
to call in
one
a
of the great
bomb
guys.
threat then because that's
Nah,
bullshit.
sick shit. You invited, bro.
Nah, that's fair.
No,
All
but
right.
thanks very much for having us.
we'll do
boys.
it
no
again.
worries.
eh?
Yeah,
loved
fuck
it.
yeah.
Soon.
Well, that was terrific. That was absolutely terrific. If you didn't put that yarn up there in top 5 all time, then you weren't listening or you didn't listen to the whole thing or you're an idiot. Drew Mitchell, Matt Giteau, Adam Ashley Cooper. Again, 3 of the great living Australians all time. And I'd like to thank them again for coming in because that was fucking terrific. Once more, begoodhealth.com.au. That's where you can get your good day. Code Dribblers for 20% off. I suggest you do so. Come join the thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of Australians that are just getting it down their gobs every morning. It's life-changing stuff. It really is.
Could you two just not talk anymore?